We are here. We're live. Make sure our audio's all good before I take off the headphones and everything. Oh, right. Just reload this. My pingor hurts. Come on. There. I think we're good. But, I kind of have to speak more if I'm going to actually be able to test this. We're good. Alright, let me post about it. Okay, it's finally Arc 9 time. Hooray! Obvious hashtags in there just in case. And post. Alrighty, it is about that time. So, uh, slight, not even slight, delay on the stream there, I know. Went to have a washroom break before I started, then I had to set up, and then all sorts of shit. Just an absolute chain of events. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to start as quickly as I wanted to, but that's okay. Let me open up my phone, mute it, and then put on the stream just so I have the chat there. Can I? Yes, I can make it entirely chat. And if I do this, okay, you know what? This works. Why am I paused on this? That's really strange. No, I just looked paused. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Alrighty, yeah, so slight delays and everything. That's alright. Let me take this off because I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. Yeah, we're all good. Quick drink before I continue with what I was saying. Okay. So there was some slight delays and everything. Kind of unfortunate. Uh, but I am here now, right? Not even just in terms of delays for this stream. Delays in terms of when this stream is going to happen. There was a lot, and I apologize for that. Super hard because I I did not expect things to go down the way they did. So obvious first thing I'm gonna mention is Friday, right? So Thursday I was gonna stream really early, and then we were gonna tackle a little bit of reading. We were gonna tackle the first chapter we're gonna handle today. That's the one we were gonna do on Thursday, and then I was gonna save the next one for Saturday or whatever it may have been. All that. That was the plan. That plan didn't work. Uh, Thursday, I woke up pretty late and I had somewhere to go, which is what I mentioned. So the fact that I woke up late immediately threw that out the window. But it was okay because it's like, you know what? Saturday. We can do it Saturday, right? So Friday rolls around, right? Now I made a tweet about it, but I went to Anime North and everything. I'll show the actual images I got in a moment because I did the ReZero photo shoot. That's something else I have to add on to this, but don't worry, we'll get to that. So I went there, and you might notice in the background a few new things, right? There's finally, finally, I have Fist of the North Star figures here, right? The one series I have above like ReZero, and I've never had any figures of it. But I found a cool ass Juza one, found a Kenshiro one, right? They look like handmade and everything, and I kind of like that a lot, right? I like that authenticity to it. It's really nice. And then the Rao figure right there, which is but made by the same people I believe that did the JoJo ones, right? I fucking love those, right? And I love this one. I've wanted one of these for a while. They also had a Kenshiro there. I would have loved to get Kenshiro, but they were a lot, right? These figures were being sold for how much they're actually worth, and it's just like, ooh, right? I got the Rao at the very least. He's very nice, right? He has a lot of cool shit to him. I wish I got the like shirtless or I guess armorless version of him, technically shirtless. Uh because that one's extra cool, right? That one you can have him do the pose with his fist in the air and everything. I would have loved that. They didn't have it there. That's okay, right? But I got this one. It's Rao regardless of that. It's awesome. I have him doing Tensho Honritz, right? Like how he's like swinging his arms around and then he holds it here. Oh, sorry about that. Then he holds it here and he blasts forward. I have him doing that pose, which is why you can see one arm this way, one arm down here, right? As if he's like kind of swaying them. Um, so that's there now. You can also see the Yujiro up there, right? That's new. I found that very cheap, which is insane because it is high quality. That is a really high quality figure. Like, no joke, it looks fantastic, and I'm surprised I found it for as cheap as it was. It's great though. They also had a Baki. I was gonna go with the Baki, but I saw Baki also had similar figures to like the Rao one, not by the same company, just very similar. And then on top of that, there was a new one that came out with him doing the Triceratops fist pose, and it looks accurate to the manga in terms of how he's drawing everything. I fucking love it. I also found out later that's a prize box thing. So, well, not prize box, but like you rip off the tag and it tells you what you get. He's like the letter grade A sort of one that you rip off the tag. So unfortunate, he's going to be rare to find, but some people might have him, and I'll get him if he's a good price, right? But I'll save Baki for that, or like I said, the customizable one. His was all right. It was him doing the pose though, like his actual stance. So I did debate on it pretty heavily. Uh, what else do we have here that's new? I'm just trying to think. In terms of, oh, there's a new Godzilla up there. I can't really show it all too well, but I could grab him. It's a little bit tight here because the desk is up. It's a little hard to get around. Uh, you know, maybe I can grab. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me try and grab him. I gotta move my table here, right? You just move the table, and I go around. Oh, it's a tight fit. The desk really does fuck this up. Like I'm skinny and I'm, you know, having trouble getting through. Okay, got him. There he is. It's just a 1954 Godzilla. I've never had a 1954 one, and I've always wanted one, but you can see his little doofy eyes and everything. He's great. I love him. Uh, Weirdly, his legs move around, his arms don't. Like his tail moves, his legs move, but his arms do not. I don't know. It's all right. I'm not gonna move him around too much. I like to have these figures just where they are, but it's a little surprising. He does remind me of the King Caesar one I have, who has the opposite issue, where his arms can move like up and down, I think, or like left and right, but you can't do anything with his legs. He just stands there. It's like it's still cool, right? It's King Caesar. I'm cool with it, but it's just like surprising. And back in we go. Put him back up there, right next to his Heisei counterpart. Okay. And I also got a Metroid poster uh, that is currently sealed away. So I would love to show it. And when I have it framed and everything, I will show it. But for the time being, I don't. So that one is going to be hidden away. I have a ton of framed stuff down here that I do actually have to properly hang up. Um, but when it's all hung up, honestly, I think when everything's hung up and I have all this shit sorted out, like I want to have a shelf there and everything, I think when all this shit is sorted out, I would love to just randomly do like a room tour sort of thing, maybe on the second channel. But I would love to just do a room tour. It's a very small room. It's not like I have to do anything big, but it's just like, oh yeah, here's what everything in here looks like, and all this sort of shit, and here's like the REM figure that you guys always see and all this shit all that. But anyways, Friday. Friday was a big haul day. Worked out great. I did enjoy, grabbing everything that I grabbed. All that. It was great. Uh, and then I was exhausted. Friday fucked me up bad, right? I was just drained, and I'm like, you know what? I I got some nice rest that night. Woke up early, went through my day as is, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh, Anime North. does photo shoot stuff. Now they have some, or had some rather, on Friday, and I'm like, maybe I do some then, but I don't think there was anything that I was interested in, or whatever it may be. Might not have even been any on Friday. I don't remember. Um, so I sat there and I was like, okay, uh, Sunday they have ReZero, right? I'm like, I could go to the ReZero one and do the photo shoot there and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm open to that idea. Not the worst idea, right? Uh, so I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, essentially I got out all my parts, right? Because the obvious thing, oh, I just realized the boxes are back there. I keep putting them there just for the sake of ease, and I really need to find a better place. Let me move them. This is unprofessional looking. Let me move them. Uh, I think over here. I'm gonna just plop them on my bed for now, just because. Um, right. So I was saying, I got out all the parts for the Raid cosplay because if I was gonna do a cosplay, it was gonna be Raid. He's the one who I immediately have ready. So I was just like, okay, Raid, right? Boom, get out all the parts. I put them on the desk here, and then I get the shoes and I put them on the floor. And I'm like, okay, they're ready for tomorrow if I need them. So I had all the parts ready. So regardless of what time I had to get up or anything like that, I was just like, fuck it, we ball, right? I was just like, you know, let's do it, right? Why not? Uh, and then I find out because I'm talking to my brother and his friend, uh, and I'm like, cool. So when do we have to leave tomorrow if we want to like go to this? And I was told 8:30, like in the morning, and I'm like, ooh, well, it's too late to go back now. So all right, so immediately Saturday, the day I would have been streaming, I was just kind of on top of the fact I was chilling out on Saturday. I need to point that out. Is why I had to delay the stream. Is I was chilling out. Friday had me exhausted, and I was exhausted into Saturday. So I was just like, fuck it. Yeah, you know what? I don't know that I'm gonna do something Sunday, right? So I'm like, yeah, you know what? Uh let's just do it, right? I was like, let's just go to this, and I'll do the stream Monday or Tuesday, right? Cool. So that goes down. Whatever. Right. So then Sunday comes along. I wake up early. I am tired because I did not get enough sleep. I got some, right? By all means I got some, but I did not get like a full like 8 hours or anything like that. So I was just like, because I was told at like 12, right? So I had like still I still had shit I was trying to do, and then I was told at 12. So I went to bed at about like 1 or 2 a.m. And I'm just sitting there like, ooh, I'm gonna be tired tomorrow. Like I'm gonna pass out. Spoilers, I passed out as soon as I got home. Um, it was bad. Like I fell asleep in my chair. I woke up, and then I'm just like, oh okay. And then I walked over to my bed and just fell asleep. I didn't even bother to do anything else. Right? I didn't even bother to get ready for bed or anything like that. I just fucking passed out in my clothes. Everything just I didn't give a shit. Right. Um, but anyways, I was talking about Sunday. So Sunday rolls around. It's the photo shoot day. This is also where I got that Kurisu. You can see in the background. It's very nice. It's beautiful, right? Saw that, and I was like, well, I gotta, right? Steins Gate. I gotta have something in there. So brother got it as essentially like an early Christmas present sort of thing. Because I'm gonna be real, I I love celebrating, Christmas and all this sort of stuff with family and everything. But I'm also not picky when it comes to gifts sort of stuff. Somebody could get me a gift like months in advance, like right now essentially, and I'd just be cool with it, right? I'd be like, okay, whatever. Cause like the Elsa figure that's coming out. I don't know if I brought it up, but the Elsa figure that's coming out, uh I'm getting that as an early gift, right? Just because. So it's just like, okay, right? I'm cool with it, you know, like essentially save money in advance because I get this shit for free. Like, yeah, sure, I'm cool with that, right? Especially at a convention where it's like there's going to be stuff that I want, right? And it's not hard to like define things as opposed to online where it's like there's all sorts of sellers. You can't necessarily tell if it's proper or not. There might be shipping, there might be customs, tariffs, all that sort of stuff. It's hard to say, right? So in that sort of scenario, that's where I'm especially like, you know what? It's fine if I get something in advance and I don't get something when that day rolls around because fucking like it just saves me time, right? It saves time, saves money, all that bullshit, right? Uh, I think it saves everybody time, really, actually. But right, I was saying, so Sunday rolls around, I get that figure, right? Cool as fuck. I love it, right? It is really nice. Glad it's there. I wish I could get an Okabe figure, but unfortunately, I don't think he has any based on what I saw. So I'd love to get one of him as well because these two, I don't know if I mentioned it in my review, but these two are even for me in terms of like favorite character, right? Love them both, which helps with how the, how the story has this dynamic between them. But yeah, uh, so other than that, photo shoot comes around. Now I am gonna open up the look at Twitter asking for analytics. I don't care. Uh, I am gonna open up my little tab here on the stream. I think it's yep. So yeah, I went in. I did the red cosplay like I mentioned. You can see some photos here. I was almost not recognized except for the person running it who was right here with this fierce one. Uh, they recognized me as soon as I walked up for this photo, and they were like raid, and I'm like, there we go. I was so happy. I'm like fuck yeah, finally. Like because I was standing there the whole time, and they were going by they were essentially going by camps and groups and sort like that sort of stuff. So I fit into none of that, right? Like I had to even explain it to my brother who was asking like, oh, where do you go? I'm like none of that, right? So there's that one. There's this one. The wig wasn't put on like fully or organized fully, but it was cold. It was wet. I didn't even bother, right? And then we have the group photos here. This is great. This is fun. There's the victory. It was fun. It was fun as fuck. I honestly like this a lot. Very enjoyable. Um, that was a fun time. I like doing that photo shoot. It's great. There was a bleach one not long at well, I actually at the same time. So we went from this to the bleach one. We took some photos of the bleach one. It was sick, right? I pretty much took off my stuff very shortly after. Like I took off the wig, I took off the eye patch. I didn't want to wear those while I was walking around. And then when it came to like actually being indoors and everything, I quickly went to the washroom. I took off the rest of it. I didn't want to wear that the whole day, right? So I was just like, okay. I didn't bring a change of shoes though, so I was wearing sandals all day. My feet started to hurt after a while. That was just gonna happen. But this was great. I had a lot of fun with this photo shoot, even if I was only recognized by one person. It was great. A lot of amazing cosplays in here. Honestly, I'm surprised by the I'm gonna say by the variety because I always see Rem and Ram as the like big popular choices, right? And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. If I was, I think I would literally have to remove skin from my arm, right? Because the 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 obvious thing. Can I even show it? The obvious thing, right? Of I wouldn't be able to have that. Um, but like I feel like that's always the popular choice. So it was cool to see like oh yeah, all sorts of different cosplays and everything. The Beatrice was fantastic. The Crush was fantastic. Like all these cosplays were great. I even saw the Frederica way earlier in the con, but I couldn't fully tell because of bow, right? The bow on the front, and I'm like, I don't remember Frederica having a bow on the front. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? But I'm just like, I don't remember Frederica having a bow on the front, and I can't tell. But it's like, it's a long like maid dress, blonde hair. It has to be her, right? Like who is there any shows that I don't know of that has a character like that? What do you know? It was literally a Frederica. So it's like, okay, yeah, it was. Fair enough. Um, but this was fun. I liked this a whole lot. I was very clearly, like I mentioned, only known by one person in terms of the outfit. So I wanted to take a picture with the Julius, but I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, it's raining, and if I take a photo with him, that's going to be suspicious because that implies that my character interacts with him at some point. So I'm just like, I'm going to hold off on that, but maybe next year, right? And I bring up next year because we have some news, ladies and gentlemen. We got news to share. This dropped Friday. Well, not Friday. Thursday. Why am I going back in time? Saturday night. Saturday night. This dropped. We officially have the confirmed year here of 2026. So it's next year. And we have Shaula's voice, who is, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but and then I'm just going to spell it out Airouz, I believe is how you say it. Not how you say it. You don't individually spell out her last name. I'm just saying that's how you spell it. I'm pretty sure. Uh, I have no idea how to pronounce it properly. I don't want to butcher it because I would feel rude then. But we have her doing Shaula. Now, I mentioned this in my post about it, but this is a really great choice, right? In my opinion, this is a great choice. My friend Dosh mentioned that this could be a little bit tricky in terms of how people perceive it because if she's doing a very loud, energetic sort of voice, with the way she's dressed and everything, specifically Shaola, the way Shaola is dressed, uh, that might create this image that's not super great for people on both sides, right? Some people might reduce her to just what she looks like, and then some people might just be annoyed with the character rather than enjoying her as a character, right? Really unfortunate. By the way, I wish I saw Shaola at the photo shoot because I would have taken a photo immediately. I would have been like, dap me up, and then immediately taken a photo with them. Would have been great, especially because she's relatively a more popular, like, light novel sort of character, right? I'm saying light novel right now because that'll change next year, but like, light novel character, right? So, could have been, right? There could have been one. There was a Regulus. I don't know if I mentioned that. There was a Regulus there who disappeared, like, shortly after like the photo shoot started, and I don't know why. But it was like, dude, we could have had a Regulus in that photo shoot. It would have been awesome. Um, right. So, anyways, regarding her voice, uh, I can see what he means in terms of the whole Shaola thing and why that could be a little bit like for some people, but I think this is a really damn good choice, right? She could do a voice similar to what she did for Jolene, which would be what he would want, and then I would also think that's pretty good. But I think for the sake of her character, it's probably going to be closer to something like, I mean, I guess an obvious one would be Power and all that, right? That would be a very obvious similarity, and therefore it's like, yeah, she'll probably sound like that. She'll be a lot more energetic, kind of higher pitch, all that. I think it'll work out still. I think it'll be fun. I just do kind of, I do partially feel his worries there, and I'm like, yeah, I could see why this could go wrong. But regardless, I think she's gonna deliver a stellar performance. We still gotta find out who Raid's voiced by. Kind of funny that I took out the costume that night, and then this news came out, and I'm like, oh shit, right. But I think this is really good. I think this is a fantastic choice. Uh, Definitely didn't fully think about it for Shala, but if I did actually consider voices for her, I do I do think that this probably would have been the immediate choice, right? This probably would have been the immediate one that I'd be like, yeah, she'd be pretty good. Uh, so this is great. I like this a whole lot. Fun. I do like this poster. Poster's great. I like that it emphasizes her. It's really damn cool. Quick drink. But yeah, very happy to see this. This is awesome. And just having the date for the next season, really damn cool. But we're not done there, ladies and gentlemen, because this happened Friday night, right? I was talking about shit that was happening Saturday night. This happened Friday night. We're getting new plushies. These don't matter, right? These are like neat, but we get merch of them all the time. I'm going to hit this button now. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an official Subaru plushie. Everybody was talking about this like I guess technically fan made, but like fan made sort of one that everybody was funding and all this shit. Out of nowhere, Kadokawa was just like, nah, fuck that, drop this. And that is crazy to me that this came out like a month after that whole thing. Uh or at least it might have been a month, it might have been a few weeks, I don't fully remember. It's all kind of blending together a little bit. Um but the fact that this just got announced out of nowhere Friday night is insane. We are actually getting Subaru merch. That is absurd. The Beatrice also looks cute, right? Not much, like, or not too much Beatrice merch, so always appreciated, right? It's great. Echidna, that's an obvious one. They like to release merch of her. And then, craziest of all, we're not fucking done yet because there's these free. We're getting merch of the dudes for the first time ever. Right? I am floored. I am genuinely floored. This is like actually incredible that we are getting this at all. Like, dude, there's Julius, there's Reinhard, there's Furious. We might even get Al in the future. Like, fuck, right? We're actually getting proper merch for this series. I am so glad that to some degree, somebody is listening. Somebody is actually listening and going, got it. And they are finally releasing more merch of these characters. Oh, I hope, I really hope that when we get to something like Arc 7, like being adapted, there is just a variety of merch. There is no exclusivity on the female characters or whatever it may be. It is all sorts of characters in there who get merch, and just that would be absolutely amazing. I wanted to share that on stream because even though I made tweets about both of those things, I kind of just wanted to talk about it because fuck, dude. So yeah, that was happening while all this shit was going on with me. That's fucking crazy. And I know now that there's probably an obvious question, which is Monday and Tuesday. What the fuck was going on there, right? Monday is self explanatory. I went to Anime North on Sunday, therefore, Monday was not going to happen, right? At all. There was no shot Monday happened, right? So Monday was thrown out the window as soon as that happened, right? It's why I made it clear that if I was going on Sunday, there's a chance that the stream would be delayed even further because I'll probably be exhausted again. I was. I didn't get enough sleep, and then I went to a whole ass con, walking around in sandals, taking photos, getting shit, right? All that sort of stuff. So, and I had some very nice food. So, on top of all that, my body was just completely satisfied, and it's just like, yeah, I can sleep now. So that happened Sunday. Monday, I took the time to relax. Then yesterday came around. So I'm gonna be real. Yesterday, I also was pretty tired, but I'm like, yeah, I could stream. But Monday, when I was talking to my friend, because I came home and I was just talking to him a bit, uh, or not Monday. I didn't come home Monday. I was already home on Monday because of all this. Um, but I was talking to my friend, uh, on Monday. I don't know why my brain's just scrambling the information now. And he mentioned, because I was telling him, I'm like, he was going through his games, just trying to figure out what to stream to us. And he's like, oh, I don't know what to pick, and all this sort of shit. And I kind of sat there and I'm like, oh, you could always play the game that I bought you, because it was like, there's a certain game that I bought him a while back. And I'm not blaming him for this, I'm just mentioning it. There's a certain game I bought him a while back, like a year ago and a few months on top of that, right? And I was like, there's a game I bought you. You could play it. And he's like, oh yeah, what was that again? And I was just like, yeah, Shipwrecked, right? Because I bought him Shipwrecked 64, and he made it decently far in there, right? He didn't get all the way through, but he made it decently far. And he's like, oh yeah, and he's like, you know what? Uh, Tomorrow, do you just want to like go through the whole thing? And I'm like, yeah, sure, right? So literally yesterday, I spent like half the day essentially being his guide occasionally as he went through the game and all this sort of shit. It was fun. It was a fun experience. I was worried he wasn't gonna like it, right? Because he was at like the big puzzle solving part of the game, right? And I'm like, he might not enjoy this too much. But no, he had a good time, right? He felt like some of the puzzles were a little bit okay or just kind of eh, right? But like for the most part, he had fun with it, right? He felt like it was a good game. There were some good puzzles in there. And I'm glad. I am really glad, especially because uh I'm pretty sure it's generally been confirmed that there's going to be updates for the game that have more like to it and everything, which I'll wait however long to see, right? But I'm just like, oh, cool. If there's updates or DLC or whatever it may be that add more to the game, sick. That gives me more of a reason to, sit down with him again and go through that because that was a shit ton of fun, right? I love that a lot, right? That game is awesome to me. In my opinion, that game is a really cool, like, interesting sort of puzzle solving game that also uses horror and all that. Very nice, right? For essentially having one dev behind it, overall, like, yeah, there was obviously like people who helped out and everything, but like having one dude who was, designing this game and doing all this sort of shit and everything, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that this even was born, essentially. I like that. At least from what I know, that there was one person behind, but maybe there was a whole last team and I just don't fully know. uh, like actually actively working on everything and all that sort of shit. But I'm pretty sure it was. I don't know. I'll have to do more research on that. But that was great, right? And fittingly, I got updates on another horror series I really enjoy last night, so pretty happy about that, right? I guess I'll have a few streams to do at some point this year on Friday night at 9 p.m. in my room in the dark. That's gonna be real fun. That's gonna be real fun. I can't wait for more knocking SFX, and I'm just gonna be freaked the fuck out. That's gonna be great. But with all that said, enough rambling on all that. We are here. It's time to read. That we get to do this. So I'm gonna try and do two, right? Obviously, I think we should be fine. Um, I don't know what the next chapter looks like in terms of length. That's my only fear. I could check, but I don't know what the cover art will look like, right? That said, there is an easy way to check. But I think for right now, we read this chapter as is, right? Just no issues, just go through it, right? It's only about close to 5,000 words, so it'll take us about an hour and a half. Not too bad, right? And then when we are done, we will see if we're going to do another or if we're going to hold off on that, right? We're going to check the word count of the next one and we will see what we're going to do. I think that is simple enough. We don't have to worry too much about that, right? Especially like, because here's the thing, I'm not in a sense like too, picky with timing and all that because if you look at the previous stream, that was like 4 hours long, and that was because I was talking for a while, which is all right. I'm cool with that, right? But it's like that stream was long, for example. So I'm not necessarily picky, but ooh, excuse me, I obviously have other shit that it's just like, oh yeah, I need to make sure I work on today and everything. So while I can do that on stream, it kind of depends on the time management here, right? Uh, I can't be like too late with things because I have places to go tomorrow and all that. So ideally, hopefully the next chapter isn't too long. Then we can knock out both. And then I'd say probably Saturday is when we will knock out the next two. And that might be the last two. I don't know. Right? I don't know if there's going to be further updates or not, or if we're at the end of this. We'll see. I think I might turn on a fan here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me turn on a fan. There we go. I hope that doesn't fuck with the audio too much. All right. So I think that's the plan for right now. Is we're gonna try and do two. If the next one is decently, like I think especially if the next one is, I'm gonna say above 6,000 words, right? If the next one's above that, I guess 4,800 wouldn't even be an hour and a half. That would be closer to an hour and 15. Yeah, an hour and 15. Um, if the next one is above 6,000 words, I think we maybe save that for Saturday, right? Because that one would probably be long. Like, I saw that there was some long ones in there. I saw ones that said like 18,000 characters or some shit like that. And it's like, well, that's more than the previous ones have been. So that implies a lot, right? That does mean that if those are the chapters, let's say on Saturday, we're either going to have a really long break or we're going to have to split that up. I think. Sorry, my fan just out of nowhere like changed in noise. Like it was spinning perfectly and then why did it slow down? I just realized it slowed down. I'm gonna figure that out in a second. But uh yeah, what I was saying. Uh yeah, we might either split that up or just we take a really long break in between them. We'll figure that out when we get there. But for today, we're gonna try and tackle two. Um Really quick, let me see what's going on with the fan. Because I don't know why it slowed down. Plugged in properly. I don't know. I don't know. Something happened there. I have no clue what happened. It just out of nowhere the fan completely like slowed down. That was really fucking weird. It's been fine this whole last time. Like I had it on this morning and it was fine this morning. I don't know what happened. Ah, it seems okay now. It might change in a bit. I guess we'll see on that. But enough dilly dallying. Let's finally get into this chapter. I'm gonna like this art because this art looks great. Let's give this big old like before we even start because I think this looks fantastic. Alrighty. Uh, I'm assuming that we're starting off with some Amelia dialogue. I'm gonna take a guess on that. So, I guess let's just get into it. When you talk to me, look at me properly. The moment he was struck by the intense kick unleashed, an alarm blared inside Aldebaran's mind. The cause of that alert had been the kick itself, alongside various factors surrounding it. Firstly, the sheer force of the kick had incurred tremendous damage, leaving him astonished at the absurd length of the leg that had punted him, thinking, from here to there is all leg? The tip of the icy slipper worn on the kicking leg bore into him, smashing past his stone chestplate and placing him in a serious bind. The ice had begun to freeze over his chest, causing his sternum to creak. But the greatest reason for that clamorous alarm was the fact that she had hit the bullseye on him with piercing words, leaving him no room for excuses. Look at me properly, she said, and priorly, you look lonely when you talk to me as well. Honestly, it was shocking that she had correctly guessed the complex emotions Aldebaran harbored. He was not so conceited as to think he had done a good job of hiding it, but he had arbitrarily assumed that she was ignorant to these sorts of subtleties. But, on reflection, she was simply bad at harboring ill will towards others, though alert to such malice stemming from those others. She had been born into this world a silver-haired half-elf, so that was only natural. The tuition fee cost a damn fortune. Just below where the frost had begun to erode the abdomen of Aldebaran, as he spat those words out in frustration, clinging was an ice-made man modeled after an Odysseus individual. Uh, I know I said Odysseus. Why did I say Odysseus? Odysseus, you rat bastard. Uh, the Iceman obstructed his movements, and so, grabbing its head with a stone left arm crafted through magic, Aldebaran mercilessly ripped. Uh, oh yeah, ripped cranium from torso. I was just like oddly worded for a second. That I was like, wait, am I reading that right? The cries of his sculpture audible as an "oh." The decapitated body of the Iceman shattered in a ruthless manner, its ice shattering to the ground. Not only did they look the same, even the ease with which they died was spot on. Scroll down. There, you take it. Kya! Jeez, that's awful. Unlike the shattered body, the decapitated head was attempting to bite him, so he threw the Iceman's head back towards the woman who had been chasing him, Amelia. After glancing back at Amelia, who caught the head before her body as if it were a dodgeball, Aldebaran looked down at his stomach. The frost began to spread from where the kick had landed, and as things were, his entire body would end up being frozen in ice. That happens. You'd be done for, uncle. You know what to do, don't you? I knew it was going to be him. Affixed to a pillar of earth, topside down, with the spectator feasting his eyes on the clash between Aldebaran and Amelia, Roy Alfred, grin stretching from ear to the one ear to the other, hinted at how Aldebaran ought to deal with the ice. He had no need for advice from a Sin Archbishop. Without needing to be told, Aldebaran grit his teeth, gouging his own abdomen with the tip of his sword as it began to freeze over. Through feverish pain and spilling blood, he forcibly closed up the wound, an inch away from having a seppuku, with stone, evading the bad ending of being encased in ice. His vision flashed bright red in agony, and the heartfelt, jovial laugh of Roy grated on his eardrums with an "ah, that's it." But such a painful countermeasure. Oi, oi, you ain't giving me any other choice. If you don't like pain, then yield and be frozen in ice. You gotta have some awareness that's the sort of attack you're using, little miss. Yes, I think the same, but don't get the wrong idea, Al. Wrong idea? You can't withstand, you can't withstand using the same method that you used for your stomach for your entire body, can you? I'm gonna go down and take a drink. A little bit further. Drink! I did not make this water nearly cold enough. I mean, I thought it was the case, but I did not. That's unfortunate, but we deal. It's water. That was a declaration of her intent to assail his body with the same blows she had delivered onto his abdomen. As if to substantiate that, the heartrending grimace of Amelia's beautiful face lost its harshness, and white fumes began to blow a cool wind in the vicinity of the prison tower. As white powder snow fluttered down to encoat the war theater, and his chilly fingers did Aldebaran feel the gravity of Amelia's seriousness. Ooh, excuse me. This is the part where I'd want to say that you're cute even when you're angry, but honestly, it's just plain terrifying. Besides, as Aldebaran cracked a joke, the atmosphere creaked before him as the head of the Iceman clutched in Amelia's arms began to regenerate its body. As if to say, here's a new body, instead of, here's a new face, the Iceman completely recovered in just a few seconds, making an appeal of his good health by doing stretches. That meaningless incinerator. That meaningless incin. I'm not even about. I fucked it up twice. We're gonna keep going. Liveliness was a faithful recreation of the original, and so truly annoying. You've got him down to even the finest details. It's disgusting. Your way of complimenting is the same as Ram's. It has a reputation. Ooh. Ooh. Hold up. Hold up. Same as Rams. There are some things that we don't know yet about Al, but same as Rams. Ooh. You know? That might not allude to anything, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It has a reputation among everyone at the mansion. They all think it's really just like him. Heh. Though he himself must have been the only one to react with an unpleasant face. How did you know? I get it. It's the face he'd want to not see the most. In his reply to the simple question, Amelia's widened eyes tensed in anger. She may have thought he was speaking contemptuously, but it truly was Aldebaran's unreserved opinion. In the first place, if she was going to make someone out of ice, it would have been better to use a more reliable, stronger outer appearance. For example, someone like Garfield as a model. And yet, she had chosen Natsuki Subaru of all things. Thanks to that, Aldebaran had been able to destroy the Iceman with zero reluctance. Scroll it down. If it's a soldier, shouldn't you have used the most reliable guy as a model? But that's why I used Subaru as the base. I see. Shouldn't have asked. That's great. You gotta love how she always rely, or not always rely. Fuck, I'm saying that like I'm talking about like the arc 4 like death, with her going crazy. No, You gotta love how, she always does like kind of trust him now. I love it, love it. Sticking his tongue out inside his helmet, Aldebaran felt as if he had eaten a bitter bug. Even more so than the damage he had received from being kicked, the mental damage from speaking face to face with Amelia like this was incredibly draining. For Aldebaran's authority, for the maintenance of his territory, a stable mind was indispensable. Despite that, Amelia was a very character that defined the meta of easily disturbing Aldebaran's mind. Damn piece of shit. In all honesty, encountering Amelia here had been outside his calculations. I was about to say expectations. After returning to the kingdom from Wallachia, Aldebaran had controlled the party headed for the Pleiadius watchtower to his convenience. Of course, he had grasped that Amelia and Otto would head to the royal capital, but he had intended on quickly retrieving Roy and departing the royal capital safely before trouble could be encountered. To think the rug would be pulled out from under him by a Zoda bug. I guess the one who started this string of bad luck would have been Lil Miss Felt. In order to engage Reinhardt in his worst possible condition in the Agra sand dunes, Aldebaran had deliberately made use of Flam's divine protection at the tower, having her inform her little sister of his betrayal. As a corollary that of that, Reinhardt had appeared at the sand dunes, and an ambush had been prepared by Felt's group. Felt had not kept that information to herself. With a state of emergency in which her allies at the Pleiadius watchtower had been wounded, and the divine dragon, which was supposed to be the protector of the kingdom, had submitted to the enemy, so she had done well to display such composed ability to make decisions. He had thought it might have been another suggestion from that of Valga Cromwell, but to that notion he had to shake his head. I'm going to take another drink in a second here. I see some stuff about Priscilla that I'm reading over it. Ooh, I really should have made this cold. Every time I take a drink, I'm just like realizing it. I'm like, should have made sure. Felt was someone whom Priscilla had recognized as an adversary. Her caliber to be monarch ought to be praised with sincerity. Either way, Felt had chosen the best course of action amidst high pressure circumstances, and so Amelia, having received the information from her, would not put it to waste. Consequently, uh, his escape from the prison tower had been obstructed, leaving him with the worst possible present, facing off against Amelia. To his fore, Amelia slotted her hands into gloves of ice while standing beside the aggravating Iceman who had taken the gear to Gear 2 pose, and she casted a gaze of vigilance over to Aldebaran. Like, okay, what this implies, right? This implies he's been doing that. Because there's no shot that, like, Amelia, because, like, okay, they can function as their own thing. But there's no shot Amelia would, like, ever think about that, in terms of just, like Subaru and all this and just her general knowledge. So this implies that at some point in the story, presumably multiple times, but maybe not, fucking Subaru hits that like hand down or like fist down to the ground, legs spread out, face down. Like this implies he's hit that before. That that's really fucking funny. Okay, right. In her amethyst eyes could be felt a strong. I still can't get over that, but felt a strong ardor, as if to say that she would not lose no matter what Aldebaran might do. But even without her vigilance, or all her vigilance, there were not many things Aldebaran could do. He had been fending her off with swords of rock that mimicked her ice-brand arts, calling it earth-brand arts, but the effectiveness of the weapons each of them made was a difference of night and day. The respective staminas were not even worth comparing, and neither could Aldebaran create reliable soldiers of earth. Moreover, it tormented his heart to bring harm onto Amelia, let alone wound her physique. This was the fatal flaw that being known as himself had been furnished with since birth. To make matters worse, Amelia's techniques, specialized in capturing people alive, had the worst affinity for Aldebaran's authority. Ergo, now that the ones considered to be the greatest obstacles to his plan, Natsuki Subaru and Reinhard, were out of the picture, Amelia would be the natural enemy of Aldebaran. Excluding one other person, she was his worst enemy. Regardless, no matter how much he analyzed the situation, he could not even find a single good ingredient and wanted to cry. But not once had he experienced a precedent of his complaints breaking through such an impasse. Down. If he could not forge a decisive blow through his own merits against the opponent who was unconsciously countering him, he would have no choice but to rely on outside help to end this. And then it happened right when he was about to play his trump card. Piercing the cumulus, he bore witness to the dragon descending upon the noble district. Are you serious? As it sliced down through his vision, Aldebaran unconsciously muttered. Beyond the foggy white sky, currently drawing a line of pale blue light descending through the sky, was Aldebaran, planned to be Aldebaran's trump card. If it was headed to the noble district with such vigor, to where he had kept Ye and Felt on standby, then it was very likely its objective was to rescue them. That was to say, a being that Ye could not deal with alone had been dispatched to the burial villa. Since Aldebaran had intervened immediately, Ye's survival would have been 50-50. At the same time, it meant that Aldebaran would be unable to borrow a hand from Aldebaran in this predicament. Are you serious? With the same words, Aldebaran became even more keenly aware of how much worse his situation had become. He could try to redo with his authority and call Aldebaran to himself before Ye and Felt, but if he did so, Ye, without reinforcements, would likely succumb to the unidentified enemy. Neither Ye nor Felt could be described as essential to Aldebaran's objective. They could not, but shit! Relinquishing his chance to swallow the poison in his mouth, Aldebaran cursed out. Using Aldebaran's dragonic aura to dispel the cold wave Amelia had used to put the entire field under the control of her snow, thus allowing for a safeguard withdrawal from the battlefield, had been the trump card of Plan A. Now that he could no longer use that, he would have no choice but to urgently enact Plan B. In order to execute Plan B, he would have to hurry and think of a Plan B. Yup. Fucking City Hunter ass reference. Also, hello. Fucking City Hunter ass. Why does it do that in the chat? That's weird. That's really weird that it just puts it like that. I don't know why. I do partially wonder, because Tapei loves to put references in his stuff. I do wonder if that is a City Hunter sort of well, I guess with City Hunter it's not like that. City Hunter tries to have it be Rio saying like, oh, it's time for Plan B, and like people like, you know, around him mention like, was there ever a Plan A, right? So I guess this is the opposite, where it's like there was a Plan A, there just wasn't a Plan B. Which I think also is part of the joke in a sense with Rio, but I could be wrong. In the meantime, you see that, little miss? At this rate, my partner is going to rampage through the royal capital. I was told that I'm not in charge of worrying about over there. Amelia resolutely charged at Aldebaran, the latter wishing to prolong his time to think. While sensing beyond the wall the assault of Aldebaran, a divine dragon, Amelia's courage to trust in her allies and ignore it was simply far too much. That alone was likely proof that she had faith in the person who had concocted this strategy, but this was not something a person could do just because they were told. Thus, the fact that it was the best possible move against Aldebaran made it all the more unbearable. Ya, te, dodo, ya. Following her initial policy, as if just having remembered, Amelia abandoned dialogue and unleashed a tumultuous chain of attacks. The frost-clad fists fired off a volley of innumerable punches, smashing right through his hastily made boulder shield. Amidst the scattering debris, he caught the frozen spearhead with a prosthetic rock arm, only to discard it when the ice began to, and he when the ice began to, and he leaped backwards. Thereupon, the Iceman had circled around him, crashing into him with a Tishan cow. Don't fully know, but we'll see with the reference later. Go! Oh! On the receiving end of the secret Bajiquan technique, learned through imitation, Aldebaran was launched forward. Waiting for him there, Amelia transformed the lance of ice into a glacial mallet, resolutely holding it aloof. Pulling down her slender, supple arms, she unleashed a full swing of inconceivable might. The atmosphere was pummeled by the frigid blow, laden with drive, and as soon as Aldebaran accepted that he would be unable to dodge it, he encased his entire body in earthen armor, leaving nary a gap. The tremendous might struck him true. Unable to raise even cries of pain or screams, Aldebaran spun through the air. He had defended against the ice eroding his earthen protections, but his defenses had provided no more comfort than if there had just been a handkerchief between him and the weapon. His vision spinning wildly as he was blown away to a position unknown to him, he was caught by the strong impact, falling to the ground. Yeah, that looked painful. Seemed like the end of the road for you, Uncle. With his hand down on the snow-blanketed ground, hearing the delighted voice of an onlooker up from above him, Aldebaran realized that he had crushed into the pillar of stone to which Roy had been affixed. He had been sent flying 10-odd meters, and there was a grating pain in all of his bones in his body. He had not even had the time to clap back with abusive language. Shit. It was not desirable for Al to waste any more time on this. Plummeting the temperature around her, Milla's fighting style was a devilish method in which debuffs would accumulate over time in a manner akin to snow, and it was also possible that the enemy's reinforcements would begin to show up as he dawdled. The more opponents that showed up, the level of difficulty in emerging triumphant would rise exponentially. He had become keenly aware of that in his battle against Felt's faction, and it was entirely possible that his natural enemy could be among them. Can't really see because of the snow, but it seems things are getting tough over at the town too, doesn't it? Gonna try and call for help at the very top of your lungs or something, Uncle? Shut the hell up. You just keep quiet and stay. Roy, upside down, consequentially piqued Aldebaran's nerves as he was backed into a corner. He felt his rage well forth, wondering if he should potentially die an additional death just to deck that grinning mug. And beyond his indignation, what Aldebaran saw was the fluorescent hope of a plan B. If he's me... Oh. If he's me, what the fuck is that implying? What does that mean? What does that mean? Quick drink? Ah. Oh, you know why it probably... I just realized, you know why it probably does that with the emotes? Because this goes off of Twitch more than it does YouTube. So, YouTube emotes probably just don't get counted in there. Working. It probably just ignores that entirely. Kind of unfortunate, but that's okay. Far from the sensation of the white haze being swayed, it transmitted Aldebaran being engaged in a raging battle. Within the farthest extents of Aldebaran's knowledge, there were not many candidates capable of engaging in a fight to the death against Aldebaran, but he had no choice but to believe and entrust that victory to the dragon. And that which he had believed in the dragon was not merely, or that which he had believed in was not merely the dragon's triumph, but that Aldebaran must have also been laying foundations for the unbeknown Plan B, while knowing that it could not assist Aldebaran. In order to realize that unascertained Plan B, Roy, if you don't want to die, then lend me a hand. Ah! Or is it Al? Oh, Al! As Aldebaran shouted, Amelia widened her eyes, her voice honed in rancor. At the sense of disbelief resounding through her voice, Aldebaran was astonished that his stocks still had the margin to be devalued after he thought they had already hit rock bottom when he released Roy out of the prison tower. No, when he entrapped Noxke Super. But, if it's necessary, then even the power of a Sin Archbishop is to be borrowed. Noxke Super did the same in the Empire, yeah? What's so bad? Even though you know that it's not that sort of problem. Guess so. I'm saying that while fully aware. Loathe me all you want. He was accustomed to being loathed by Amelia, a falsehood. In truth, his position was that of not even ever being noticed, let alone loathed. You who let's scroll a little bit further. Upon Al's response, ear flaring through her sorrow, Amelia created stakes of ice in the air. Capable of magician-esque battling styles besides hand-to-hand combat utilizing ice, Amelia pointed the floating stakes towards Aldebaran and Roy and avalanched them as though carpet bombing. Anyhow, though it was an expression of her intent to stop their wills, Amelia's rushed attack was intercepted by Aldebaran, pulling off the ground like a carpet through magic, as though overturning tatami. Even if you ask me for our cooperation, you see. The ground rocked by the piercing impacts, this hurriedly constructed shelter of earth would not last much longer either. Aldebaran's concentration was torn in its maintenance, but despite being subject to the same predicament, Roy paid no attention to that whatsoever and crooked his lips in displeasure. As you can see, our limbs are fractured, and we have been prohibited from eating. So then, what are you telling us to do? Or to even do? Or perhaps you're giving us permission to eat that One-san. Is that what it means? Wrong. Neither am I letting you eat her, nor am I letting you go on a rampage. Then what even is there for us to... There it is. Spew it out. Or there is. Spew it out. A low-toned edict. Aldebaran met gazes with Roy, who was upside down on the earthen spire shielded behind it. And Canute? Oh yeah, Canute. Canute gluttony, a third choice besides eating or rampaging. Roy rounded his eyes at the bid, then immediately smirked a broad grin. Geez, uncle, just how much do you know about us? Can't be that you're truly our real father, right? If I had brought up brats like y'all, I wouldn't even be able to live with all the apologies I'd have to give to society. The relationship was one of forcibly compelling to listen, bound by a curse mark. Aldebaran's attitude, in no manner intending to establish friendly relations, was yet welcomed by Roy with a licking of lips. Quick drink. We are essentially at the fight. I mean, we've gone a little bit into it already. Assuming this is like, the fight with Amelia is what you're referring to. No, yeah, like this is like, this really establishes. Let me take a drink actually, because okay, now I can speak. This really does establish how strong she is, and this very like keen difference between things. Uh, oh yeah, no, yeah, that's happened at this point. Yeah, that was a while ago, essentially, but that has happened. Uh, but yeah, in regards to Amelia and all that, this really does establish just how strong she is and like how much of a because like when we see her fight Regulus in Arc 5, just because of the freak that Regulus is, it's hard to tell just how insanely strong she is and all that. But like, then we see, the third arc with honestly, I'm not even just starting with the third arc. In general, uh yeah, no, Amelia's yeah, like uh, we see it with arc 1 a bit. Um with the Elsa fight is what I was going to mention. Where it's like she doesn't necessarily keep Elsa at bay the whole time, right? Because Elsa's also a freak, right? She is really good in battle, and partially why Garfield won is just the whole thing of like it's the fact that Garfield was like fighting her in the same way that she was fighting him, right? Both of them were going all out. Both of them had the intent to kill, and everything. Uh, but like with Amelia holding Elsa off, we kind of see that there, where it's like, yeah, like literally, like, she has a record right now of just like she fought Volcanica, she fought Mazoria, which like in a certain sense they tried to establish some stuff with the ice there and everything, and like the snow and the temperature, which is fair, but still like that should still be accounted for. Uh, yeah, like Sphinx, all like she has had a massive record, and also like I said, like including Arc One fending off Elsa at the very least, right? Um, Arc Three where she was fighting against essentially one of the fingers of Sloth, right? Which still counts in a certain sense as fighting Sloth. So it's like that's pretty impressive, right? Fighting somebody who you can't see the attacks of and everything. Uh, I mean, if somebody wants to chill and just like to they don't mind the spoilers and all that, it's not the worst. But I will say if you want to be completely spoiler free to all this, you probably should head out because I'm gonna say we're in the middle of like some of the most recent stuff. It's gonna be rough here. It's gonna be rough in terms of spoilers, so I cannot recommend it. But hey, if spoilers don't matter, I don't really mind. I've mentioned it in videos before of like if people stick around for spoilers, that's all right. It's partially why I do recaps, right? I do recaps in a certain sense because it's like if if you hear about the stuff I'm talking about in those sort of videos and then you're interested in reading, that still works out, right? But in regards to Amelia and all that, yeah, like all these fights, like she's fought Roy before. Like I'm just trying to think of like just everything of like she's had a lot of battles in there, and it's just like kind of fucking crazy to see how much she's actually gone through and how high she's skilled. And like we know because we've seen the Arc 4 backstory, and the Arc 4 backstory pretty much showed us uh she did, right, yes, she also fought Lie. And okay, I I want to note this. Raid is a little tricky. She did, but also at the same time, she did partially walk up to him and just go, "Yeah," and then he wasn't expecting that at all. But yeah, it is technically true. She did, go through that whole thing. So fair enough. Um, but like we do see from the Arc 4 backstory that she's strong, right? She's a child. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. My bad. Um, I failed to consider that moment, but my bad. Uh, but like we see from the Arc 4 backstory, like even as a child, she froze over that whole forest, and that's her as a child. So if she got stronger, right? Like obviously, yeah, she needs to have control over that because freezing a whole area is dangerous. But if she was capable of doing that as a child, that shows how powerful she is later, right? Like she I'm gonna be real. She probably could have handled Elsa. It was just the problem of other people were there, right? Because Elsa, as we know, does really bad with magic, right? Magic is like an absolute like for her. So the thing is like Because the same thing happened with Beatrice, right? Beatrice would have been fine in the fight that she had with Elsa, if not for the fact that Subaru was still there, right? Because Subaru was trying to tell her to back off when she was about to kill Melee and all that. And it's like, had he not been there and had uh no, yeah, like it's real interesting in terms of just like this weird sort of scenario of like, oh yeah, this dragon, this big protector for them, is now like a villain, and then here's this like person who looks like an absolute like murderer who killed half the world, all this bullshit, and it's just like, oh yeah, she's helping out by the way. Um, but yeah, what was I saying? Right, stuff with Elsa. Um, like Beatrice, right? Beatrice could have handled that fight had Subaru not been there. I'm not, blaming Subaru for that or something like that. But it's a point, like it's a point to make that, uh, yes, that is also true. That is also true. Puck did like kind of hold that shit back, so that is fair. Yeah, you know what? Then yeah, I guess the Elsa fight would have been a lot more restricted. Fair enough. You know what? I was making the comparison to the Beatrice stuff. Beatrice didn't have a restriction, so that fight would have been easy for her. Emilia did because of Puck. But if Puck wasn't there, like essentially, perfect way to word it is if Arc 5 Emilia, or at least past part one, maybe not part one, I guess past a few episodes into part two of Arc 4, like going off of episodes, right? Um, past a little bit of that, that Emilia probably could have fought Elsa and won, right? Assuming nobody else is there. If it's just both of them fighting, she wins, right? Because it's like Elsa's good, but somebody who has like big fucking AoE magic, that is an immediate get the fuck out of there for her, right? Like Garfield was a fine fight because Garfield was just a dude who was throwing hands, and occasionally he'd use Earth magic, but like for the most part he was just throwing hands. So she's like, yeah, that's my kind of fight. But like, oh, person who could just go freeze and then just freezes everything. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna just jump. I'm gonna leave, right? Like, yeah, exactly. She will just fuck you over if you get hit once. So, which, once again, same shit Beatrice was doing. So it's like immediately you can tell bad matchup. It, like Amelia without any of these restrictions is fucking insane. Like, I don't know if she goes in top 10 in terms of strongest characters, but if we went alive characters, I'm trying to think of alive characters because I feel like Wilhelm would be in there, Reinhard would be in, like obvious examples in there. Uh, I think she would be. I feel especially because of Arcade's ending, like, that removes one character, so it's like in terms of alive, yeah. Hmm. That does have me curious. I know there's some power scaling sort of like tier list. Like, I don't give a shit about power scaling, but at the same time, I would be interested to see some general thoughts on what the like top 10 would be in terms of alive characters. I didn't mean to hit the mic there. I'm sorry about that. Um, in terms of alive characters, I'd be curious. I think she definitely would be in there if we're going just off of alive characters because it's like I said, Reinhard, Wilhelm. Uh, I'm like looking at my poster here to make sure I'm like not forgetting any. Krush is currently fucked over. So we're gonna go off of like current, right? Crush is fucked over, so no. Capella, I would say absolutely. Uh no, yeah, exactly. Like ReZero fights don't go off of this character is stronger, so they're bound to win. They go off of like here's some actual depth to that, right? Which is really not like there are all sorts of factors to an actual fight, which is good. That's what a fight always should be. Like it can be entertaining sometimes when it's an overall like power difference sort of thing. I brought up Dragon Ball like a stream or two ago. That has some interesting ones in there where a character is notably different and you get to watch this very interesting spectacle. But yeah, fights here are way too complex for something like that. But like if we went off of strongest characters, I'm just thinking here. Like, it's tough to say Beatrice because Beatrice technically would be, but it's the problem of the contract and the fact that she used all her mana. Like, I feel like she would be a very high contender for that sort of thing. Uh, she could be in there. She could be. I feel like Capella is an obvious choice, right? Because Capella's the thing of like, listen, she doesn't have to be absurdly strong. Her body, based on what we know, whether she does it intentionally or not, is really frail. But all she needs is one tap. She just needs to tap you once, and the fight's over, right? Which sounds, mm. But like she can end a fight very easily. So I feel like she could go pretty, because I'm also going to treat it like that. I'm going to treat it as it doesn't matter how strong they are, whatever it may be. Could they potentially, you know, like how risky is it, right, to get into a fight with this person just based on what they have? Uh, no, yeah, I find it strange as well. I've seen some opinions like that for Arc 5, and I find that weird because I'm like, it's Arc 5, right? Like she's strong at this point, right? It's not like I'm not saying she wasn't before, but like this is like Amelia kicking the shit out of Regulus and all this and doing all sorts of bullshit, and we're gonna call her like useless. Really interesting. Ooh, excuse me. I'm still trying to figure this. I'm like looking at this poster. Ram could technically be really high up. She just has to borrow the horn, but she could be. If she borrowed the horn, she might. Well, no, because I don't know that the horn actually does too much in that regard. No, yeah, it, it's yeah, it's kind of rough in terms of some of the ways she gets like perceived or like gets perceived and stuff like that, and it's like it's really unfortunate, right? Because like the obvious thing is it always does get pointed to like fans of like shonen series and all that, and I do partially think that's true, right? I think there are like it's the obvious thing of like it's series versus like fans in terms of like, oh yeah, I could say like there's great like shonen series out there with all sorts of stuff and everything, but I will always probably say yeah, fans can be very focused on action and characters doing very specific stuff and like never really piecing things together because they just see big moments. Jujutsu was really guilty of that, but yeah. No, yeah, like that's the thing I'm thinking of. It's like he mentioned that like Horned Ram would fuck up Regulus, and that's like whoa, right? That's extreme. Because like, okay, sure, right? You get rid of Regulus's endurance bullshit, all that. And it's like, yeah, now he's vulnerable, but it doesn't change the fact that it's Regulus, right? So if he gets a good swing in with his hand while he's holding like sand or something like that, you're fucked, right? But the idea that like, oh yeah, Ram with her horn could just approach this dude and beat the ever living shit out of him is insane. And it's like, actually, I think it would imply even if she was sharing the horn because Lai mentions that when she's doing that, and Lai brings up the fact that like, no, no, that motherfucker would also lose. So it's like, I guess it has to be right. No, yeah, she would absolutely pull the same shit he did to Reinhard of you go up and just fucking like throw him into the air and that man would never be seen again. He would stop thinking. He'd turn into fucking cars. But it's like, damn. No, yeah, she was like that fight is so damn good because she's holding back. Like you can tell with the way she's fighting, she's holding back, but she's making it count. Right? At any point she could have killed him. She just wanted him to fucking know how like big the difference between them was. It's so good. No, yeah. Like even if you were to say like, oh, because like even if you were to say Otto, right, and be like, well, Otto only controls bugs, so therefore it's like, no, him controlling bugs is like, and all, not even bugs. I say bugs, like that's the only thing. Him controlling animals and all that shit, being able to speak to them, big fucking deal, right? That is massive in terms of how that can affect a fight, right? Uh, Garfield, absurd. Amelia, absurd. Rem, absurd, especially if she has her horn, absurd, right? Rem, okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna call Rem absurd overall. Uh, I forgot to turn off my voice detection here. Hold on. Google thought I was looking at something, or not looking at, but trying to look something up. Oops. Um, no, yeah, that's another point to make. Is Gluttony F Subaru considering Otto the biggest danger? That I love. The fact that he like plans all this shit and everything. He's a big planner, and all that bullshit. Exactly. Uh, but what was I gonna mention? Rem, right? Yeah. I want to call Rem absurd. My one issue with calling her absurd, right? Reminder, favorite character, literally on my arm. My one issue, I'm not trying to say this is everything, right? Because now I sound like a like absolute shonen sort of like meathead of like fights and all this sort of shit. But my one thing I'm gonna mention, this is something I realized recently. Not recently, I say recently, like a year or two ago when I was like counting up the fights. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. Uh, Rem has never won a fight. She hasn't, right? Like you might say, well, the Olgarms, right? And it's like, well, the problem with that is if you're gonna put in an army, right? If you're gonna put in an army, I think you count the head as winning the fight, right? If you kill the head, you win the fight. She didn't do that, right? Witch cultists. She was murdered multiple times, right? Uh, no, yeah, that's also a fair point. That is also a really fair point. Um, but right, what was I was counting up the fights. Yeah, the Oligarms, Witch Cultist, she dies multiple times, right? At one point it's because of pedal use and all that, and other times it's just presumably Witch Cultists themselves because she has the dagger in the back of her head. I'm trying to remember every fight. There's the White Whale. She was out of her league with that one, but there was a White Whale that she tried to fight by herself. Uh, uh, right. Lie. She tried to fight Lie by herself. That didn't work out. And then yeah, that pretty much like cut it off until I guess like arc 7 and 8 and all. Okay, she technically did win one fight. She got the final hit on Todd. She did run in with the axe and get the final hit on Todd. It is the final hit, but it did happen. So I guess technically, I guess she technically won that fight. It's just it's rough to say because that is like kind of a kill steal. I feel like that is kind of a I didn't even kill him, but like you know what I mean. Like that is kind of just running in and being like I am the winner, right? Which that moment is great just because it references arc free, right? So I love it a lot for that. But like it does kind of feel like that. Uh no, yeah, that's like that was something I realized as well because like okay, when I read arc 5, I knew how many deaths there were, right? So I knew going into it that Regulus and or not Regulus, but like I knew that he had 3 deaths and all of them were to Sirius, right? Or at least I knew that there was 3 deaths, but I didn't know they were to Sirius. But then I read through, saw that it was to Sirius, and I went, "Oh, but he fights Regulus this arc." And I read the whole arc, and I sat there and went, "He didn't kill Subaru once. Oh fuck!" Like that was really fucking impressive to me, especially because like just how tense that situation is. Which, honestly, I'm gonna be real. Knowing that spoiler made that arc so much better, in a certain sense. I'm not gonna say like that improved it, right? But it made it really fun because anytime anything happened, that told me there's no loop here, right? So especially with the Capella stuff, right? The Capella stuff happened, and I was like, he's not looping here. Oh no, right? I was like, oh fuck, this is bad. And even with like the stuff where Beatrice kind of goes comatose for a bit, I was like, damn. Uh, no, yeah, couldn't even kill like Subaru that whole time. Got washed by Amelia. And then Rem made sure to dish out the final blow. And it's just like, wow, that man. The worst part is he got washed while he was transformed. Like he wasn't even in his, I'm gonna say like usual form where he has the axe, and he was absolutely like killing Subaru before all this bullshit, right? Running through the like what was it, like the prison island or something shit like that, like the gladiator island, fucking like walking around, coming in, just killing people, all this shit, right? Dealing with like Tanza and all them. It's just like all of that reduced to nothing when he transforms and eats shit. It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy how that shit works out. He didn't even stand a chance. That said, it gave us one of the funniest chapters of. Can I get to it really easily from here? Oh fuck, I can't. Um, hold on. Let me pull it up. No, not a new tab. I want to have a new window. Thank you. Let me pull out. That did give us one of the funniest chapters in terms of. Oh, this new art. I don't remember this art here before. Unless it was. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't remember it here. Maybe it's new. Was it Arcade? I think it was Arcade. Yeah, it gave us this chapter, which was no, yeah. Uh, it gave us this chapter, which was one of the funniest chapters ever. Fucking, how many words is this? I'm curious. I never checked that. This chapter is so fucking funny. I remember I had to read through all of this because I was super backed up on stuff. Uh, and my cats. I was on like this road trip essentially to pick up the cats we now have, right? So on the way to get them, I'm like reading through this. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the time to just go through these, just dash through. Which, by the way, really funny. These motherfuckers are energetic, so they broke out of their like little, I guess like cage. It was like a nice soft sort of cage, meant for lying down. They didn't give a shit about lying down. They broke out of that, so I had to like hold one of them the whole ride. And meanwhile, I'm on my phone, like reading the chapter, and just like, oh, hold on, let me just readjust. Okay, there we go. Uh, so that was real fun. But and when I say they broke it, by the way, I mean like they broke off the zipper. Like they bashed their head into like there was netting essentially. It wasn't like a cage sort of thing, but it was like netting, right? They kind of like slammed their head into the netting so much that it just knocked off the zipper and it opened up. And I was like, oh shit. So I had to hold one of them like the whole time. And my brother held the other one, and all that. But I was reading through these chapters at that time, which made it funny. I think it was this one. It was either this or it was the gladiator slash like prison island bullshit stuff, all that. It might have been that, but I think it might have been this. I don't remember which it was. I'd have to go back and check, right? Because I made a review, and when I did that review, I posted the pictures of them. So I know it's in one of those reviews. But this fucking chapter, I remember reading this and it was hilarious because I was backed up on chapters to read, regardless of if it was that time or not. I was backed up on chapters to read. I got to this one. I'm like, okay, Todd Fang, backstory time. Let's see. And I scroll down. I see this. I go, of course, of course, of course. That's what Tepe did. Let's go over here. Let's clear this out. Ooh, excuse me. 200 words practically, like 5 under 200. Dude, that's insane. He made a chapter that was 195 words. One of the things that I looked up when it came to like writing chapters was something people mentioned of like, oh yeah, a chapter could even be like, 500 words or something like that. It just depends on the content, but usually you're gonna have like a general high amount, and it's just like here's 195. Uh, it's so crazy how many people mischaracterize the characters, right? No, yeah, people. So here, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to bring up a chapter. Um, People really seem to not understand the relationships with some of these characters and seem to think that everybody hates each other. Or not everybody hates each, but like Ram and Subaru, for example, right? Uh, like one of the chapters that I think shows that in a certain sense. In a certain sense, I'm not talking about entirely. Um, which one is it? Is it Chewed Remains? Am I on the right? Yeah, I'm on the right. Yeah, I'm on arc 6. Okay. Infant Sensitive, Breakthrough Sandtime, As If a Flash, Baptism of the Watchtower, Ridicule of the Sands. It might be Chewed Remains. It might be this one. Uh, I'm trying to remember if it is this one. Uh, Partially that, but I'm more so thinking the one where they're all yelling at each other. The one where they go down the path that's the wrong path, and it's like kind of endless. But the further they get into it, the more insane they go, and they all start yelling at each other. Trying to see if it's this one. Uh, I think it is this one. I think it is this one. Oh wait, no, it's not this one. Never mind. Is it? Oh, it is. Fuck, hold on. I was speed reading. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, but like this, so this is one of the chapters that I talked about. Oh, it's the one before. Okay, fuck. I saw some things where they were like yelling at each other there, but I couldn't tell. Uh, I forgot this one just had a pic of the opening. Uh, yes, it is this one. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that was perfect. Yep, it is this one. Um, yeah. So this one is the chapter I want to bring up. Right. This chapter, uh, I like this chapter a lot. Right. And I'm gonna explain why. I mentioned it in my Arc 6 review, and I had to make it really clear why I liked it, right? Because I didn't want people to interpret it the wrong way. I like that this hallway that they take shows the worst side of them. Like it shows this intrusive thought sort of thing, right? It shows these angers they feel, right? Subaru getting upset about Ram making fun of him occasionally, right? Ram getting upset because Subaru keeps claiming all this shit about Rem and everything and all this bullshit. He could just be making it up, right? So it just pisses her off, right? All this, like this back and forth between them. I love this chapter because of that. But here's the thing that I love about it, right? I'm so glad you brought up the one where she helps him vomit. Because that's the one directly after this, I'm pretty sure. Right? Uh yeah, because that's Anastasia dying, right? Oh yeah, there's the art of it. Yeah, fair enough. I should have checked. Uh, yeah. Then this part happens, right? This is what I explained in my review. Is that whole chapter happens, and it is this brutal thing where you feel for both of these characters, but they're also going way too far, right? Like, you understand why Subaru's angry and has been angry before, potentially, when this shit happens. You understand why Rem's angry and why she's potentially felt this way before in terms of when this stuff happens. But they go way too far, right? Yes, and that is something I'm going to get into. Not that she does that, but like something similar, right? So I love this chapter because this is the chapter. Like, this is like one of the moments where I genuinely think Teppei is a genius when it comes to writing. Is this chapter comes right after, right? So let's set the scene a bit, right? Subaru and Rem just had a loop where they yelled at each other and they fucking despised each other and they were ready to kill each other, right? Essentially that happened. Like, they didn't kill each other necessarily, but a lot of killing happened and both of them ended up dead. Everybody there ended up dead, except for Patrochet, but you know, that's besides the point. So, setting the scene, that sort of rage happened in that loop, right? We get to this loop. I guess not even this loop. This is the correct timeline. Uh, and now these two are interacting, right? He looped, he came back, he feels sick, and he wants to throw up, but he can't, right? His body is stopping him. And out of the kindness of her heart, Ram literally goes, move, and he moves, and then she puts her fingers in his mouth and forces him to gag, right? And gets him to throw up. And she goes, and she starts rubbing his back, right? She starts rubbing his back while it's happening. And it's like, this shows just how much they actually care, right? Because it's not like, oh yeah, they fucking despise each other, and that loop was showing you what they really feel like. No, that loop was showing you, yeah, there are moments where they get angry with each other, right? But at the end of the day, these two are essentially, the best way to word it is family, right? In a way, they are family to each other. Sorry about that. They are family to each other. Yeah, like he calls her big sis and she accepts it. They are family, right? And the best part is you brought up the whole like, oh, like Ram wouldn't, you know, destroy a whole country to save him. There's this chapter, I believe, right? I believe it's this one. I'm gonna go all the way down, right? And she does this. Yeah, like she does this for him, right? And the obvious thing is like, okay, yeah, Rem would cry, but it's the fact that she doesn't even give a shit. She is on the verge of death and literally goes in front of him. And it's like, dude, she is ready to die if it means he lives. Like, that is actual family, right? That is some actual like family right there. Is, oh yeah, Ram like gets mad at him and all this sort of shit occasionally and maybe pokes fun at him, all this sort of stuff. But guess what? She still does this, right? She is still willing to throw her life away just so he can survive. That is insane. And in a certain sense, he's the same way, albeit they don't really like want that. Yes. And that's what directly follows the scene, is that she lets him cuddle her, right? And it's just like these people are just that, like, they joke around, they poke fun, but it is exactly how a family behaves, right? I know I keep bringing that up, but that is like, that is what the Amelia camp is. None of these people hate each other necessarily. Debatable, actually. Roswell is there. But, like, they are all mutually family to each other. And I love it. And, like, the biggest thing that I love about it. Yeah, exactly. The Big Sister title is in her blood. Perfectly worded. And, like, the biggest thing about it is I'm so. No, yeah, like they poke fun at each other. It's something that just people do, right? Like, you poke fun, it happens, right? You know, you always make sure to like apologize or whatever it may be if you go too far, but everybody loves poking fun at each other, right? It If we didn't as human beings, I'm gonna be real, the conversations I have with friends would be completely different, right? I would not be having the same conversations at all that I have with friends if it like wasn't the case, right? Because I always do make sure to like, oh yeah, I'll have fun, I'll poke fun, whatever it may be. But you know what? I'll always pull it back if something goes wrong, right? I always double check that people are all good, right? Whatever it may be. Yeah. And yeah, Ram literally taught him. Like, but something I was gonna mention with all this, right? Because I was mentioning the whole family sort of feel. Honestly, you know what the Arc 6 does feel like a family arc. You know what? I'm actually I think that's one of the reasons I love it so much. Arc 6 feels like a family arc. Like, I might be talking crazy here, right? But I want you guys to hear me out here. This stuff with the Amelia camp, right? That's one thing, right? Like these scenes, all that, that's one thing. But then we have I'm gonna pull up a different character here, right? Who is technically in the camp. Not even technically, she is in the camp. But I'm gonna pull her up here, right? We have right? Like this in its entirety, this backstory is literally family, right? It's all about family. But then Meili herself is a child who no longer has one, right? Because if she returns to her mother, she's not gonna die. There's just something way worse waiting for her, right? Than dying. Um, and then Elsa, it's just like, well, Elsa, she's gone, right? She's gone. She's dead. They established that, right? Um, but it's this thing of like she is essentially an orphan now, right? Like she was in the beginning, she is now again, right? So now, as an orphan, here's the Amelia camp, and they take her in, and she is technically a villain, but they use this arc to progress this storyline with her, where it reaches a point where Meili is just another member of their family now, right? Subaru literally mentions the fact that, yeah, you know what? What if I adopt you after this, right? After this whole thing's said and done, what if I adopt you, right? And that, I fucking love that scene so much. It's not just because these are like two of my favorite characters, right? Because I mean, you could say that about the Ram scene. I do love the Ram scene a lot, but like you could say that about the Ram scene as well. But it's just the fact that he openly says that to this fuck, it's almost gonna make me tear up. It's the fact that he says that to this child who was brought up in a harsh environment and like, you know, had to just deal with all this bullshit from Capella and had to live her life feeling like killing isn't that big of a thing, right? Or whatever it may be. And all this stuff. And it leads into this moment with Arc 6 where Subaru is trying to openly just bring her into the family, right? He is just trying to be like, you know what? You're gonna be my daughter, right? Like I love that. I do. I really love that because that is such a heartfelt, like there's no bullshit there. There's no joke. He genuinely wants to take care of this child. And I'm like, dude, listen, I am a sucker for older sort of character, whatever it may be, taking care of much, younger character and all that sort of shit. It's one of the reasons I love Like a Dragon so much, right? Kiryu and Haruka are like, fuck, dude, like that's one of the best plot lines I've seen of that sort of thing. It is so damn good. No, yeah, right. It's like, but but like all this stuff makes me so damn happy. And it's like I was gonna mention some other stuff with the family. Right, yeah, Shala and all that, right? Shala technically was part of a group that all had this friendly relationship with each other. Like Raid, okay, Raid was a bit of a piece of shit, but you know what? They were all generally this group that kind of hung out together, all this sort of shit, dealt with things together, right? So Charlotte, in a sense, works into that. And as a result, she's connected into Subaru's plotline with that sort of family tie. And that's why it's such a big deal, is that she gets brought from this family she had like 400 years ago to the family she now has in her little scorpion sort of form, in a sense, alongside like Melee and all them, right? Um, and then there's the obvious one of gluttony, right? The gluttony trio is all here, and they're family, right? They are literally families to each other, and they mention the reasons as to why they do what they do and all this sort of shit, right? But it all together like comes into this thing of they are siblings and they give a shit about each other, right? They're not like other witch cultists or whatever it may be, where they view each other and they go, "Hey, fuck you," right? Whatever it may be. No, they look at each other and they go, "We're family," right? And then they understand, and it's like that's what Arc 6 feels like. You know what? I should have reworded that whole review if I realized this sooner. It's like that's what they are to each other. They every single like character in here has some sort of family relation with how they act and everything, and it's fucking great. Like I love this stuff so much. And like honestly, you could even make the argument of Louis, or I guess at this point Spica, right? Like she is technically now part of this, right? Much like Melee and much like Shaola, she kind of converts over. It's really fucking interesting. I love this arc so much, dude. This arc's so good. Fuck. I can't wait for next year. I can't fucking wait for next year. Ah. By the way, I think we're probably doing one chapter. It's okay, but I think we're probably doing one. I'm just I'm having fun talking here and I'm realizing we're probably gonna finish that chapter and I don't think the next one's gonna be super short. I have a gut feeling it might not be. So it's all good. I'm enjoying my talk here. It's fun. But like I fucking love Arc 6 so much, dude. This is such a good arc. I am partially curious, right? I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but I am partially curious on why or like what it may be that puts Arc 4 above everything else for some people, right? I really like Arc 4. I just like I've never really stuck it, right? Like to that sort of thing of like Arc 4 is like one of the best, right? It's like I've always viewed it as yeah, this is a really good arc by all means, and 100% the anime fucks with it. But like, I don't know, man. This shit exists, right? To me personally, this exists, and that's hard to fight, right? Like I could maybe see it with Arc 5. It's a bit tough. I to me, Arc 5 still wins, but like I could kind of see it there. But I think it's like this is the moment where I'm like, mm, like it's that's a wide stretch in terms of the fight. Fire writing, fire writing, fire writing. I see that. That could be a. Ugh, damn. The fan art for this art is so good, dude. I'm like also looking at this. It's like, dude, this art is amazing. This is the type of stuff that gets me so excited for what's to come, even though like we're not gonna see exactly like this imagery. It's just like this stuff's so good, man. It's so damn nice. Mm. But uh that would be a real funny interaction. And then it says from zero, bro, right at the end. Uh, there's your like, fire writing gift that's the person. I saw a post. Uh, I think I don't remember where it was, but I remember seeing a post about somebody mentioning that there was a Japanese like content creator or something like that who it might have been like on Twitter or something who like didn't like obviously didn't know stuff outside of Japan in terms of what people posted like gifts wise and everything. So they had no idea why people were posting a gif with somebody writing and the whole page was on fire and they thought it was a bad thing. And it's like no, that it's good. No, yeah, like they're it's real interesting how many people they pardoned, but in a certain sense, you could kind of view that as a big plot line of the series of like there is there is a certain extent of forgiveness, right? Of like characters like Regulus. You don't forgive that sort of shit, right? His bullshit is like unforgivable. But then it's like because he's not gonna change, right? But it's like, for example, with Spica, right? Spica becomes somebody who isn't Louis at all, and it's just like from -1. Like that reminds me of the one image I saw. Let me see if I can find it. Um, that reminded me of that one image I saw. Uh, about. Please tell me I can find it. Person watching this movie on plane post. Yes, here it is. I love this image so much. Hold on. Oh, it was on Facebook. That's what it was. It has an iFunny. It has an iFunny logo on the bottom right. It's gonna ruin it slightly, but if we just zoom in, it's not there. I love this post so much. That's what that reminded me of. As soon as I read it -1, immediately I thought of this. Fucking tried to watch Shin Godzilla on the plane, only to realize by the end of the movie that was actually a drama called Tears for You. Words can't describe the feeling of watching an incredibly sad movie while constantly thinking, damn, this is depressing. Plus, they'll probably have to deal with Godzilla at some point, too. This post is so fucking good. I love referencing this anytime Godzilla gets brought up in a conversation with friends, because obviously, me and some of my friends are big Godzilla fans, but just anytime we get to bring up Shin Godzilla or something like that, we get to bring up this. So just like the idea of like the episode name, right? Of like Al saying that being like -1 or some shit, and just sitting there and be like, oh damn, this is a sweet scene. Too bad they got to deal with Godzilla at some point in this. It's silly, but I'm having a laugh at the thought of that. Ah, it's good, good. Love this shit. Um, yeah, no, but like I feel like that the big story point with ReZero is kind of that pardoning sort of thing. Because it's like, I brought up Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth does a lot of that, where it shows this guy deserves to be in jail, right? Like this guy and the bullshit he's pulling. This guy has a scenario where it's like, okay, I can see what's wrong here, right? And what went wrong and all this bullshit. And you know what? This guy's probably not that bad of a person, but it's probably just what happened that made him this way, right? Uh, yeah, true. He's gonna come in like Arc 12, like if I can Piccolo style, like block a shot for Subaru, like Ram did, or Ram was about to, and just cinema. Uh, but yeah, I do kind of love that this story focuses on that. I honestly, I can't fully tell if they're gonna pardon Al or not. I think that's the fun thing here. Is like they probably will, right? But at the same time, it's like he has a motive, right? He has a motive. He's hesitating while fighting Amelia. There's some shit going on, right? There might be something to this that adds a whole lot more. I did see some people mentioning that they would be like pretty upset if he got pardoned. And I think it's like I can get it, but I think we're a little late for that now, right? I think after Louis slash Spica, uh, there was no shot that like anybody in the future wasn't going to be pardoned, right? Because it's like if we can pardon a witch cultist who has changed in terms of how they act, anybody can be pardoned, right? So as long as they have a good heart, right? And it's like, Al, we don't fully know yet, right? Like we don't know what his intentions are. So when we learn them, sure. But until then, it's kind of a thing of like, well, we can't say one thing or another for him. So we kind of have to wait, right? I wonder how confusing this stream will be for people who like might pop in. That True. Uh, I wonder how the confusing this stream will be when people pop in, because they're just gonna like, like, oh, Arc 9 reading, and they pop in, and then they see Arc 6. No, yeah. I am really curious on what's the intention with the orb and everything, or like, I guess not the intention because he has them sealed away. He doesn't necessarily have to do anything with it, but like, presumably, right? We know the general basis of his motive, but we don't know enough information. You know what I mean? I am curious to see. I think that's why this arc is like really fun. Is that we're kind of piecing together what could be going on, right? And we're getting to that point. And it's like the fights right now, in a certain sense, delay that, but they add on to that depth of like, okay, very clearly, if this isn't part of the well, not isn't part of the plan, but like this wasn't expected or whatever it may be, there was a lot more of a simple flow to this that should have been there that wasn't expected, or like the scenario that played out wasn't expected as a result, right? So who knows? Let me double check something. Okay. Um, trying to figure out what the fuck. Hmm. Uh, let me see this. Let me check this. I shall check. I shall check. Yeah, that's really good too. But yeah, perfect way to word it. I had DM by my other friend. Okay. So I see another DM in my feed, and I go click on it, and it's my good editing pal and just good pal in general, Brandon, making fun of a character. Oh wait, no, it's not him making fun. I just realized the joke he made. I just realized. What emote do I use to react to his message? I'll hit him with a true. Never mind, Discord's broken right now. Okay. That is a good way to like essentially show that. Uh, I have so many tabs open now. How many Arc 6 tabs did I have open? Holy shit. Damn. I'm not gonna lie, it feels weird seeing some of the art here. Like, it's beautiful by all means, but I am so used to like when the older art was here. I think some people know what I mean, of just like, because some of this was not, like, this was not here before. This is sick. When the fuck was this added? This is new too. I do not remember seeing this like a week ago or two. What the fuck? Dude, this artist. I mean, I can tell it's Roca, but like, oh shit. Dude. Last month. You tell me I didn't. How the fuck did I not notice this for a month? Holy shit. I mean, it explains why it feels new, but like, dude, I didn't notice this for a month. I scrolled down here and didn't pay attention. Damn. Damn. These I do remember older than that, but like, these. Like, I remember everything essentially up to like here, like Arc 8 or Arc 7. I remember all the old pieces that used to be here. I'm trying to remember what those images were. Um, I think Arc 4 had one of. It was kind of similar to this. I remember it was like Beatrice crying, and then I think it was like Subaru there with a Echidna or something like that. Ah, damn. I was gonna say like, oh, I might just go like that on Twitter, but yeah. Ah, damn. I remember the old one that used to be here. I don't remember what the image was. Could I Wayback Machine this? Hold on. I want to find out if I can Wayback Machine this. Uh, like no shot that I can. Did it copy all of it? Yeah, I can Wayback Machine it. Okay, hold on, hold on, hold on. I want to pull up the site from, let's say, June 19. Show me the site from June 19. I want to show people who don't know, if anybody doesn't know. Yeah! Oh, dude, okay. Yeah. Oh, this is classic. Dude, this at the top with all the witches. I remember this one. Yup, it's them. Yeah, it's Rem crying and then Rem sleeping because that happens at the end. Yeah. This is what it was. Yeah, it was a kidna like this. Reinhard, yep. Yeah, and it was Charlotte. Yeah, I remember these. I remember these. Dude, it's been so fucking long since I've seen these. Oh, this feels crazy. This is how I read this shit. Oh, dude. It feels so long. I remember seeing this art. This art is so good. I love this art. Does it give me the direct link to it? Oh, it does give me the Pixiv link, so I'll have to grab that way. Well, actually, no, I probably can just look at it from here because let's see. Will it let us? It might not because it's also going off the machine. Yeah. Yeah, no, this was like 2019, so this was no Arc 8 yet. Or not no Arc 8, doy. No Arc 7. Shit, my bad. So this was actually a little bit before I started, but this was all of like the art that stayed there for a while, like when I was reading. Um, can we go to the individual pages? Let's find out. I want to see. I want to see if we can. I want to see the full art. Can we go to... Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is the art that I was talking about. Yeah, it's Echidna, then there's Subaru, and then there's Beatrice crying into her book. It's just good. What was Arc 5's again? Was Arc 5's the one with Capella's hand out? I mean, I know that was in a chapter. I'm trying to remember what Arc 5's was. What the fuck was Arc 5? I don't remember what that one was. I guess we'll find out when it loads, hopefully. Please. Damn. Oh. Oh, nothing found. Damn. Wait, what about there? No. Because it mentioned something for there. Huh. Okay. We unfortunately can't check Arc 5's. That's... But Arc 6, I think I remember this art being like everybody crying. I think this actually had a proper one. Uh... Let's go with 2021. That should work out. It didn't work. I don't know what happened. If we go here, it might just be broken right now. This might not work. Yeah, this ain't working. Okay, unfortunate. But I do remember it was everybody crying and all that. So I do remember that one. But yeah, wow, this is fucking old to look at, but I remember all of these. And like compare it to now, right? Yeah, so now we have this piece at the top, which I fucking love this one so much. This is so good. Right, I remember seeing this on Twitter when it was like posted and everything. I'm like, oh, this one's good. I I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I love the detail that Capella has two frogs around her because it's good. It's good. If that is the case, it's a nice touch that it's two frogs explicitly, right? Um, This art is so good though. And then yeah, it has this section now, which is really helpful. I I really like that this section is here because like obviously before if you went into it you didn't know where you were, right? I remember confusing some friends because I told them, "Oh yeah, if you want to know where you're down here." Right? After we finished watching through, I was like, "Oh yeah, you're down here." And they're like, "Huh?" So it's like I can understand the confusion for that sort of thing. So I am glad it's like, oh yeah, now you click on one of these buttons, you're there. You click on this button, you're there. You click on this button. Oh, because it goes to the chapter. I was like, it doesn't go to arc 6, and then I realized, oh right, yeah. They didn't finish arc 5 yet, but they're gonna, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. But you go there, right? It's cool. Um, but this feels crazy to look at in terms of difference. Like, damn. And I know it's all Roka art here, which is like, well, actually not all of it, because this is new, right? Is this one posted on Twitter? This one's posted on Twitter. I'll go like, oh right, yeah, I've seen this artist post before. I don't want to back. I want to back out just in case there's any spoilers in there. But yeah, okay, fair enough. For the most part, it's Roka though, because yeah, like Roka here, Roka there, there, down here. But yeah, it does feel crazy seeing this comparison. I'm just like, yep, there's let's try and line it up perfectly. Yeah, like there's the arc 1 and 3 art. Oh, this is before there was the switch to make it night mode. Oh fuck, I forgot there was a switch that was added at one point. Because like, I'm just used to it having it this way, but it's like that was the case. No, yeah, all of these are fucking phenomenal, right? Like, I mean, I'm a big sucker for art in general. You don't have to make like a like Picasso sort of painting for me to like love it, but it's just like all of these are fucking great. Like this Arc 5 one is fucking insane, dude. Holy shit. That's so good. Damn. Um, but like this is the try like the type of level I'm trying to be at some point, and I'm probably gonna like I'm gonna say like close to that as I practice more. But like for right now, I feel like I'm very satisfied with my art. It's just I definitely want to reach that sort of insane point because that's so much fucking work. No, yeah. This is so good. I mean, yeah, this is the standard that Arc 7 had even before, I remember. What was Arc 8's big spread? Yeah, it was also Roka. Yeah. This one was great as well. These are all so good, dude. But it's like it's great, and like these are great as well, right? Don't get me wrong. I think all of these are also great, and that they have some beautiful display on it. Honestly, this Echidna one is so good, it honestly makes me think that it's the anime, right? Like that's crazy that I could look at this and be like, this feels like it's ripped straight from the anime, but like better, right? Because I think Arc 4 did have some rough moments with some of the animation occasionally, but like, you know, I could see that and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's probably like a promo art for it or something, right? And it's just like, oh shit, no, that was like complete fan art that looks really fucking good. This shit's crazy, you know. But like just seeing the comparison of just like, yeah, here's the old icon or here's the old icons, here's the new ones. It's like, damn, right? I think I am gonna say, I think I do prefer the new ones more, solely because let me try it without night mode. I'm gonna blind everybody. I think they fit in more. I think these because you know what my issue is with the original? Um, these are great, but occasionally they're white backgrounds. So the problem with the white background is that it doesn't blend well to the site, essentially, right? Because you see these, right? So here's Rem and Rat, right? They're white, so they like therefore they blend into this entirely, right? That's perfectly fine. That works out. But then you get to Echidna down here for arc 4. Echidna has a proper full background. So that makes it a little strange to look at. You go to the next one, which is Reinhard. He also has a white background. So now we're going back, right? That makes it a little weird. Then we go to arc 6. It has this phenomenal art. But at the same time, that's in opposition to what was happening before. It's a little bit too much back and forth to me, right? I like this because it's consistent. There is never a moment where it's like, here's pure white background. It always is a full piece, no transparent in the background, all that. The promotion of it, I I feel like I have because I remember watching some of the older promotional video sort of stuff. Uh, is it? I'm trying to remember. Is it the one where they're walking up like the staircase and everything, and it shows like I want to say like the mural of like of them. Wait. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay. I wanted to make sure because I'm like that one's the one that I've seen a lot of because people always do love to post it. No, yeah, that one is really fucking good. I do really like that. I saw some people complain about it because it's like the mural thing is weird because like why would that be a mural in the world? You know, that it's strange because it's Amelia and Subaru and all that. And I'm just like, dude, it's just a really cool artistic choice. Even if it's canon or some shit like that don't matter. It's just really cool, right? To see them walk and then just fade into a mural of it is like that's fucking awesome, right? No, yeah. Uh, I mean, especially the thing I noted with that is something Taipei mentioned in I think it was an interview sort of thing, like it might have been the questions or something like that, was she doesn't want to have Amelia die on screen, right? And I'm like, that's really interesting, right? Her death is always implied, but never on screen. And that's really interesting because what I immediately thought of was Arc 1, right? She dies on screen in Arc 1. We see it happen when they do the hand holding. So, like, yeah, right? Best way to word it is like, there's very clearly some shit going on with all that. And I think that's probably why, Arc 1, in a sense, is this super important thing is like that moment with Amelia and Subaru holding hands. Uh, like you mentioned, just diverging somehow from how the story would have normally gone. All this, it's like I think this is like the shortest, but definitely feels like the most important arc with what goes on, right? Every other arc establishes stuff, but like this is the one that's like, oh, there's a great deal of things here that will be important later, right? Especially them introducing themselves to each other, right? The way, Amelia introduces herself to Subaru and all that. Exactly, right? Like everything lines up here. And like I was saying, like Amelia introducing herself is like that gets referenced in Arc 6, that gets referenced in other moments in there, and it's just like, yeah, like all of this we got to see where this goes. It's gonna be a real interesting moment, and we'll find out with fucking like arc 12 or whatever. But like, which is crazy to think we're almost there, right? I think honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying this because like I'm so worried to lose viewer count. I don't give a shit about like viewer count in a certain sense, right? I'm saying in a certain sense because I'm essentially meaning that's not my primary focus here. My primary focus is to entertain. So I care about viewers in the sense that I want more people to be, happy, laughing, all this, having fun, right? That's what matters to me. I don't really care about like I'm losing viewers and therefore I can't have like money or something. It's like I don't care about that, right? But I will say it's gonna be sad in few years down the line, something like that, where we do reach the end, because it's like, damn, at that point, we're done here. It it's it's gonna hurt. it's gonna hurt in that sense to think that yeah, we're all good, right? We've wrapped up. That's it, right? And it's like, again, it's crazy to think because we're at arc 9 right now, right? Like we're let me put it back to night mode. Like we're here, right? So it's like, damn, we're at arc 9. For all we know, we're not far off from the end in arc 9. Ooh, excuse me. Like it's probably going to be 2 or 3 more volumes, right? Because like I think arc 7 was the exception, but like probably not much left of arc 9. It might be done by the end of the year, maybe by next year, right? And then after that, we're on to arc 10. And it's like, fuck, dude. We yeah, like we're not gonna be here for much longer. And I feel crazy saying that, right? Because when we started this whole thing, when we first began this whole thing on the channel, it was, how many years ago was it at this point? Was it 3 years ago? It was. Yeah, it was this long ago, right? This is how much was out of arc 7. Half of arc 7. Half of arc 7 was out when we started this whole thing, right? And I'm late in the game. I won't deny that, right? Like a lot of people started ReZero essentially when it came out, right? Like a lot of people started with 2016, with the anime and all that. People maybe more so on like the Japanese side might have started earlier than that because they might have started like 2012, all that. But it's crazy for me just alone. I guess, well, okay, this probably is 3 years ago. It's just going off a month, right? Month, day, all that, because it goes off the leap year as well. Um, Honestly, let's open it up. Let's open it up and check. Oh yeah, you get to see all this rent. I didn't mean to click on it. How many years ago was it? June 11. Yeah, we are approaching that. I mean, I know YouTube goes off of exact days, so it'll. But like, oh, dude, it has felt like a while here, and yet it's only been a few years, and we're already at arc 9, and we don't have much like left of it. Essentially, it's fucking crazy. It is crazy knowing that like soon enough, give it a few more years, and the latest video on the channel is gonna be like ReZero dash the end, right, in all caps. And we'll finally get to have a cover of Subaru on there, because that's what Teppei mentioned is the final cover will have him. And it's just like, yeah. And eventually we're gonna be here. Well, maybe not this exact spot, right? Who knows what happens, but like we're gonna be here live streaming it, talking about it, being like, okay, time to read the final chapter, right? Knowing Teppei that thing's gonna be long, right? I'm expecting 20,000 words for the final chapter, maybe more, right? Uh, Funny enough, I to compare it, I don't always want to bring it back to my own shit, but I mentioned to a friend of mine, I'm like, it would be really funny and also kind of fitting if the final chapter of ADT was like fucking, because like I think my longest chapter, I want to double check. I think my longest chapter, let me just double check something here. Okay. I think it was, I know what chapter it is. It's chapter 105. And I think it's like 50 pages or something. Like 50 pages, 15,000, 17,000 words. No, 72 pages, 17,000 words, right? And I mentioned to him, I was like, it'd be really funny if when we get to the end of ADT, I make that chapter like 100 pages or 150 pages long and into like 30,000 words. And it's just my ultimate send off of here you go, right? Like here is the end, right? And it's just like, man. But I partially expect that from Teppei as well. It's just like, here's the fucking Omega chapter, and you like read through the whole thing, and it's like that's it. That's how the story concludes, right? Especially because he writes long conclusions, anyways. It's just like I feel like we might reach that point eventually. I feel like we might reach a point where it's just like, yeah, here's a long as fuck chapter. That's it. Uh, but I will say I am excited for the end because it'll be a while, but it also won't be at the same time. But also at the very, very same time, I'm excited. It's gonna feel a bit sad knowing that we can't do the reviews anymore or the reading sessions or whatever it may be. But you know what? I'm glad that we got to do it anyways, is what I'm gonna say. Like ahead of time. Like 3 arcs ahead of time. Well, I guess technically 4. I guess it would be 4. No. I'm stupid. It is free. I don't know why I had to think about that. Uh Even if I had to say it a few arcs ahead of time, I'm glad we got to do all this. You know what? Like I am happy, right? Because it's like it's definitely weird in a certain sense because it's like you could argue like this is a talks about video which feels different than these. There's the like more in-depth videos like the anime adaptations ones where it feels a lot more in-depth, right? But the fact that we got to just do all this in terms of reviews and in terms of live reading sessions and everything is great. I like that a lot. I'm actually very thankful at the end of the day that we even got to do this in the first place. Like that is really fun to me. Ha. Huh. It feels crazy just looking at all these ReZero thumbnails and knowing like yeah, we're getting there. We're almost at the end. I want to see my shelf in this video. I want to see it. Dude. Dude. Do we see the shelf? Hold on. Like, look at how quickly the books end. They end right here. Right there is where they end. Dude. This shelf is so empty in this video. The books end there. There's barely any other figures other than some of the Dragon Ball stuff. Uh, Obviously by this point I already have the REM that's right here. You can see it there, but unfortunately it's not visible here. But it is to my right. Um, but like the books especially is what's throwing me off because it's like they end here. Meanwhile, currently they're like down. They're going down here, and then you guys can also see the pile right there. Like the pile I have yet to put up because I don't have room. And it's like it's not even including the Bleach collection at the bottom, like the collection of books, like the box sets that's just there. It's just like fuck. It's not even including the books that are like stacked on top because I didn't have room for them. My Dorohedoro volume alright? Hold on. It's all good. Just making sure. But like, holy shit, dude. Damn. Damn, this is old. And it's like like literally just the exact same room. Shelf hasn't changed. My dresser there that has the REM figure hasn't changed. It's the exact same dresser that's right here. The TV's still there. I mean, if we want to at this point, with the way this is organized, if I felt like it, I could play because I brought this down. I don't know if I can. This with SNES. It's not down. I brought it up, but I was just chilling playing Super Metroid, so I was just like, yeah. But, like everything here is the exact same. Like that stuff up there. Yeah, I moved around some things, but it's pretty much the same. I mean, speaking of Super Metroid, I moved this off of there, right? This used to be up there, but now I have it on my table or my desk, which wasn't here. This is new. Actually, that's the funny thing. The funniest thing is the stuff that's new here, outside of figures and all that, is this. The computer, the like actual computer, right? Like the monitor, the computer, uh the mic's the same, but I did bring it up. I didn't have the mic up here before, right? The mic's up here now. My camera's up here. Uh my headphones are new, right? Pretty much brand new. I got them like halfway through last year, right? Fucking uh my drawing tablet that's over there, brand new, right? Well, but also got last year, but again, technically speaking, brand new. Uh, Actually, yeah, because that was like towards the end of the year and all that. Like, fuck. Um, I'm just like looking over everything, just like, yeah, like everything that's here in this corner of the room, where like everything else is the exact same. This corner of the room is just, oh, what's been my favorite part? Honestly, I've just been enjoying the back and forth dynamic of it, but the fact that there is a lot more towards I'm gonna say like Amelia's side that's working out, right? It's Al trying to imitate her and then it not working because Amelia's experienced with what she's using. And Al's imitations are kind of cheap, right? Like the Earth brand arts versus Ice brand arts. Very clear difference between them. I think that's the most fun part about it. It's very back and forth. And I mean, obviously, we'll see more in terms of what Al's plan here is, but you know. Hmm. I'm like floored looking at this picture of myself, just like, dude, this is like barely the same. Like Mega Man's in the same spot, Cell is in the same spot, and Gohan. The Gokus are in the same spot. Damn. Except for Goku and Frieza. Goku and Frieza are now up there. But still, they're in the room. Who did I have at the top? I see figures up there. Hold on. I want to go a little bit ahead. Oh, it's Kiryu. It's Kiryu, and it's the Fighters Goku who I moved down. I see. Damn. Oh yeah, because this was when I talk. Dude, oh my god, this was awful. This is how I organized information for this video. I now realize it's cropping out some of it, but like, damn. That's how it organized the information. Kind of funny that this is like relatively the same for the most part. Like, Rem hasn't moved, Beatrice hasn't moved, Super hasn't moved, Garfield hasn't moved, Melee hasn't moved. Rem hasn't moved, Amelia hasn't moved, Capella hasn't moved, Shaula has moved, and Wilhelm has moved. But other than those two, everything's the exact same. Who did get into my top 10? It was Al. Is Shaula still in there? I don't actually remember. Who the fuck did I put in my top 10? Or no, I think Wilhelm might still be in there. I have to remind myself who my top 10 was. Let's go back here. It might be in this video. Because if I go to the description here. Don't mind the shipwrecked thing there. I just had to, I had to remind myself on where to go, and Night Mind was the perfect thing to use. No, yeah, Wilhelm was. Okay. Wilhelm stayed in my top 10. Exactly. Yeah, so I will say it doesn't feel like much has changed with my higher up areas, like A and above. It doesn't feel like much has changed, which makes sense to a certain degree, but like I've been pretty consistent with that, you know? I've consistently enjoyed all these characters thoroughly. I think Priscilla definitely was a big one that moved, obviously, but like Priscilla, Tenza, and Yorna. I remember when motherfuckers called me crazy for moving Tenza up there. And I get it early on. I get it, but like, dude, I knew, right? Because I think what some people didn't realize is I was talking about she has the potential to be really high, right? And I was just called crazy for that shit. And oh, what do you know? I was right putting Tenza that high. It's almost like Arc 7 wasn't done yet, and neither was Arc. I mean, Arc 8 wasn't even out. So, we might have just had to wait. I do also remember seeing that some people, I know who, but I remember some people mentioning that this tier list was goated, with two exceptions, that being Shaula up here and Rui slash Spica. I remember those two being up there was just like a right, but everything else was like, oh yeah, goated. And I remember that, and I'm just like, fair enough in a certain sense, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, right? I'm like, I felt like I had a pretty good list here. I mean, obviously it's all opinion based, but like, I don't know. I felt like these characters deserved it. I was also kind of surprised to see that because I didn't realize that people weren't huge on these two. Like, I didn't realize that these two were like kind of whatever characters to some people, and I'm like, damn, really? I felt like they were pretty good. And I'm like, I felt that like they were real strong characters. Now, okay, should be pointed out, these two were in my top 10, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no. Spica was almost there, right? Spica was really close, like in here, in the high S rank. Shala was in my top 10. So I get that. But I do remember hearing some comments, or not even hearing, I remember seeing some comments. There was some comments that were leaked to me that I was just like, oh, because let it be known, if I am talked about in other servers, I will see it. I might not be in there, but I will see it. I I I got secret little mice running around that will give me some screenshots occasionally. This is a good ass. I'm like looking at my tier list again. I'm like, this is a good ass tier list. I'm happy with my opinions here. Honestly, I like the anime almost makes me want to put Mimi higher because she was really good. Even though it's like I read the arc and I put her that high because of it, I'm just like, man, her voice acting really adds to it. It's good. Whew. I guess also I guess Roy's gonna be higher than the jobber tier. But we'll get there when we get there. Hmm. I'm like looking at every character here and seeing like who could get like I guess so out of what we see so far, Petra could get higher. Reinhard, it's tough. Reinhard right now hasn't had much, so I don't know that I would place him higher, but he could. Petra could definitely get higher. Melee, this doesn't seem like her arc. Ooh, excuse me. Even if she's relevant here, doesn't seem like her arc. Auto potentially could get higher. Depends on what they do with him. Um, and we still gotta figure out who else is gonna be in the art. Like, I guess it's Felt. Where's Felt? Where to put Felt? Am I blind? Oh, I put Felt here. Felt could definitely get higher. I could see that. Uh, Old Man Rom, I want to say is down here. Yeah. Uh, I I'm shocked I put him down here considering the EX novel stuff, but I guess he just didn't have enough. But I think he could also be higher. I think both could definitely rise. Uh, what else? I'm just like looking over every character. We don't know who Al's referring to, or at least I don't know right now who Al's referring to with the like troublesome one out of their group. or like generally would know about this shit. So that's kind of a thing I have to wait and see on. Hmm. I don't know who could rise up. This is tough. This is a really tough thing to look over of just who could get higher on this list. I'm not sure right now. Damn. There's a lot of good. I think Al could definitely go up, right? Al's an obvious one. Wilhelm's an obvious one. Um, I think they could move above Capella. Wilhelm had some great moments in there. They could move up above Capella. The problem with Capella is she's great because of other characters she's related to, right? The other characters that she interacts with in backstories and stuff like that makes her that high, right? So that's kind of the issue. But I think Al could definitely go higher. Ye's not on here yet, so Ye we have to get to. I wonder if Ye's down here. I don't remember what her design was for the side story. There she is, actually. Right there. I literally see her right there. There's Ye. I guess we'll have to move her up. That's gonna be fun. Also, I will get rid of Liliana from there. I'll rank her. The anime did fix my problems with her. She doesn't belong there. Client I'm keeping there. Um, but Liliana, she doesn't have to stay in that tier. I'm definitely gonna move her up. Hooray, I did it. I've matured. But, uh, we're just looking over everything. Where's Heinkel? There's Heinkel. Heinkel could go higher. Uh, it's weird to move Volcanica up because it ain't Volcanica right now. I feel like that's an owl thing. So I think we count that as separate until something changes, right? But otherwise, I don't know. This series has so many characters, dude. Holy shit. Ugh, I'm like running out of water here. All right. I think we've done enough. I'm gonna say window shopping here. I think we head back. We continue what we were doing, and yeah, 'cause it is at this point like 8 o'clock, and I'm realizing like, oh well, if the next chapter is too long, we're definitely not continuing, right? So I think I'm gonna get a drink. We'll be right back, and then yeah, we continue. So BRB, friends. Okie dokie. I'm bringing the desk down. I've been standing for a while. As much as I like standing while streaming, there gotta be a limit. You know what I mean? Ah. There we go. Tilt the camera down. Oh, actually, hold on. 2 seconds. We probably aren't doing the second one, I'm gonna be honest. We'll change the title afterwards. Okay. I think we're all good. Yep. We're good. Alrighty. Tuck in a little bit. You can actually see the signs get boxed down there because I have no idea where to fucking put it. That is a massive box. I'll figure that out after. Alright. Cool. One quick drink. I made sure it's cold this time. Ice cold. Very nice. Alright. Let us go. Make sure all good. Actually, yeah. Alright. We're good. He was Roy Alfred, commanding the name of gluttony, therewithal, bizarre eating per his accord. How would a glutton, whose mouth partook no matter what crude product, have evaluated Aldebaran? A useless lot regardless. He did not have the leisure to inquire. Stop! That instant, what smashed through the mud shelter was an enormous ice boomerang, identical to the flying wing blade used by the Empire's Madeleine Echart. It was thrown in, and through the opening of the piercing ice, Amelia charged towards them. I like that she remembered what Madeline used and everything, and kind of, keeps track of her opponents in a certain sense, all their skills and all that. It's cool. Aldebaran obstructed Amelia's path with an artificial rock arm created to be a size bigger. His palm was covered from above in a manner akin to a baseball glove, thwarting her path with tenderness and certainty. However, a decoy. Placing its hand on the glove of rock, the Iceman leapt over the obstruction through handsprings. Acting as the vanguard and using herself as a decoy, Mila let the Iceman proceed forward. He wanted to point out that normally between oneself and the creation, the role of being a decoy would be the other way around, but he had utterly fallen for it. The Iceman vaulted over Aldebaran's head and approached the pillar of earth. Shards of rock did Aldebaran create, pincering the Iceman to the sides in an attempt to shatter it to fragments. But it's harder than before. With elevated bone density, nay, glacial density, the sturdy Iceman's new body repelled the shards. Dismissing the obstruction, the Iceman stretched its arms towards the affixed Roy, drawing closer to hinder any action. At that split second, its head bid its torso a tearful farewell. What? Having witnessed firsthand the Iceman's decapitation, Amelia shouted after slashing the rocky glove with a sword of ice. She remained nescient of what had destroyed the Iceman, rebuilt and strengthened tenacity. But to think it had been begotten by a steel thread spinning from the ring of Aldebaran's right ring finger. Right! I forgot about the emergency one. Silver red glistening in the icy haze, perforated through the Iceman's defenses. Decollating. That which he mastered in the midst of his battle against Felt and the rest, a single finger's worth of the steel thread technique. Art would bring bread, an instant subsequent to embodying that idiom. Given the choice, I guess this one would be the most amusing. As he heard a voice, uh, just laced with glee, I'm gonna say, Aldebaran, nay, the world cried out. Moving down. Instantly, that which assailed Aldebaran was a vomiting sensation of the soul. Whoa. He believed that he had understood the principle. He even managed to conceive of what would occur. But once it actually transpired, comprehension and imagination had been of no use whatsoever. Neither onto the flesh nor onto the spirit. That was an onslaught onto the memories intangible. Or there existed a phenomenon known as déjà vu, where during the first time one laid eyes upon something, they would feel as if it could by no means be the first time they were seeing it. Currently, Aldebaran was no. Every single person undergoing these effects was experiencing something several times or tens of thousands of times more pronounced than déjà vu. A regurgitation that could not be ignored. As evidence of that, sorry, just double checking. Spilling a husky breath from Amelia's hand fell a javelin of ice. Feebly dropping that which she had been ready to throw, its form unraveled, returning to Mana before it hit the ground. Vehement turmoil flickering through her widened amethyst eyes. She fell to her knees on the spot, gazing over her state of being. Aldebaran grit his molars and leaped backwards. Or I'm just gonna say, a sense of disgust there was, but not enough to bring him to his knees. The impact of regurgitation varied from person to person. A matter of course. Emotional attachments were to each their own. Between Aldebaran and Amelia, the ardor they respectively harbored towards those memories differed. Odious though he may be, Roy had had made the appropriate selection. Accurately, he had selected memories that had inflicted a great impact onto Amelia, while not going as far as for Aldebaran, or hence, or bearing the nauseating sensation of emesis. Aldebaran raised his hand aloft to the heavens. The whitish haze of ice yet shrouded over the royal capital's sky, obstructing him from regarding it with due reverence. However, there did Aldebaran believe that Aldebaran had laid the groundwork for Plan B. 'Twas a boon of the combat experience that they had acquired during their battle against Reinhard at the Agra sand dunes. In that battle, Aldebaran and Aldebaran, fellows in whom dwelled the ego of the same man, had exercised magic through a shared magic signature. They had assumed a system in which Aldebaran borrowed the mana of Aldebaran to invoke magic, but it was the reverse this time. The plan that Aldebaran had prepared above the clouds, with a mechanism awaiting activation, it instead fell to Aldebaran to follow the magic signature and pour in mana to flip the switch. A conception reached only because their egos were one and the same, the execution of Plan B that had not existed prior, or, subsequent to the invocation, bearing witness to the entirety of what Aldebaran had prepared as a Plan B, Aldebaran spilled out a belch, distinct in essence to those that had come before, yet it still fell in line with Roy's regurgitation. Plan B. The entire picture was that of, no, whoop, sensing an intense torrent of mana. Mia's lips quivered, still down to on her knees. She was not standing. However, with her visage raised, Ramesses' eyes managed to grasp it. Floating in the sky of the royal capital was a rocky mass around 100 meters in size. It was a sense of scale that seemed as though some small hill had been unearthed in its entirety and raised up. Though Aldebaran had never encountered it, this might have been the same feeling that people had given accounts of experiencing when beholding the white whale from nearby, overwhelmed by witnessing such a mighty thing skybound. Either way, the intent of Aldebaran in elevating that rocky mass to the sky was obvious. Or, and the next instant, there resounded a report of the sky shattering, stemming from numerous cracks fissuring through the rocky mass. As was apparent to all who had not witnessed, or who had witnessed, or who had, fuck, who had noticed the abnormality in the aether. I take a quick drink. Ah, all right. Uh, the hill-sized mass split into boulders numbering around 10 or 20. At that rate, would continue down towards. No! Foreseeing that outcome, Amelia reprimanded her trembling knees and stood up. She had surely understood. Even if it had fractured into pieces, if heavy boulders, each bigger than 10 meters, were to fall, there would be a great amount of damage to the city, leaving a large number of casualties. Thus, the only way to avert that was for people capable of preventing it to go and put a stop to it. Even now, I'm going at this with the intention to not let a single person die. That's why, ow, I trust you not to let even a single one of those fall onto the city. Fuck, dude. Oh, it's such an underhanded move, but it makes sense. Damn. Forcing a selfish, one-sided request upon her, Aldebaran disregarded Amelia's voice, shrill with fervent emotion, and ran up the earthen pillar to secure Roy. Akin to the foul odors emitted from the anal sacs of a frightened weasel, the Iceman, once again reduced to being merely a head, rolled over in one last ditch to impede him, but Aldebaran mercilessly crushed it underfoot and removed the affixed Archbishop from the spire. You're quite the nasty guy, Uncle. Responding not to Roy's superfluous words, Aldebaran carried that small body on his shoulders and ran. With nary a glance at Amelia, with whom he had been doing combat until a moment prior, as fast as his legs would carry him. Ow! You can't! Don't run away! Ow! He could hear Amelia's heartbroken appeal, but no attacks were issued to halt his steps. Naturally, all of her strength was now being fully diverted to the purposes of saving people. Were she able to just pursue Aldebaran here without thinking of the consequences, she would have an easier time living her life. Undoubtedly, if she were a person capable of that, it would have been a salvation for both Amelia and for Aldebaran. But Amelia did not give in to selfishness, and by wielding her magic to save people, she had ended up letting Aldebaran get away. Don't go! Return Subaru! Return Beatrice! In concert with the heights of those emotions, sounds of glaciation could be heard in the sky loud and clear. Aldebaran invoked the protrusion of the ground beneath him, and with that as a foothold, he surmounted the wall enclosing the prison tower, withdrawing from the white battlefield made manifest by Amelia. With legs still unhalting, he ran and ran and ran. She's crying, you know, that One-san. Damn, he's got her in fucking tears because of... Man. Huh. This is rough. Fact ignorable that had it not been delineated, the detestable Saint Archbishop did that. Uh, the tearful voice rending his heart, Aldebaran continued running, never halting his feet, at this moment in the time, hoping only for his accomplices to be present at the point of regroup. He continued to run. The torrent of boulders meteoring down upon the royal capital was intercepted by the towers of frost that sprang up one after another, preventing harm from befalling the city. Neither to the unkindling perpetrator nor to the stalwart savior, to nobody did it bring glee. Merely, ah, thank you for the treat. Only bizarre eating, licking his lips to surfeit the acrimonious, or acrimonious, joy, and saccharine sorrow was smiling. I'm taking guesses on that one. Okay, Chinese martial. Okay, fair enough. I should probably be doing more research into that shit. I see. Fair enough. That was good though. Uh, Hmm. I hmm. I think I might. I it's hard to tell. I'm trying to think about it because okay, he made the big ass clump of like rock essentially, and thanks for the treat implies that he ate something. So, uh would it be? I almost want to. This might be a crackhead sort of like guess here. Would it be Beatrice? Because I'm just thinking about the like the gravity of it and everything. I could be wrong on that. I could be absolutely wrong. I'm just thinking of that as a potential idea. Sure, go ahead. Honestly, I'm trying to figure it out, and my brain's like, I can see I can see there was something that was being eaten or used or some bullshit, but it's like I don't. Hmm. I might be a little dumb here. Yeah, I'd say go ahead because he threw up a name. I see. Fair enough. Wait, okay, so threw up a name. That that's kind of new, right? Because we're used to the whole solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Throwing up a name. Oh, oh shit. Oh, 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 oh shit. Okay, I see now. Thank you so much for explaining that. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Now I'm curious, right? Oh, shit. No fucking way. I hold on. Hold. I need to go back up. We need to go back up. We're going up. Hold on. Hold on. Aim the camera. We're going back up. Hold on. Hold on. That implies some things. Okay. 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 Oh shit. Oh shit. Yeah, no, good font. I needed to stand up for that. Oh, oh fuck. Okay, I almost just like fucking choked there while drinking. Okay. Ooh. Oh, that implies some things. That implies some things. Okay. 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 That implies some things. To me, what that reads as, oh my, I, dude, I feel silly for not realizing this. I feel so, I think I would have realized it like maybe like I think 24 hours because usually my brain is like I read something and then I think about it 24 hours later and I'm like, wait a minute, right? But I'm glad I know right off the bat, right? I'm glad I get to point this out on stream. Okay. Phew. Okay, let's look at this at the perspective of characters, right? So Al knows characters, right? But or like the same characters as Subaru overall in a certain sense, but he doesn't know them as well, is what I would make the argument of, right? So fuck no, This might not even be correct. What I'm about to say might not even be correct. I'm like thinking about this, right? Because this is one of two things now. So the obvious thing is what I was saying about Al. Of okay, name was thrown up. He only had a headache. Amelia collapsed. What that implies to me is that whatever was thrown up, right? I'm going off of the basis that if something is thrown up, a character who knows about this character will, you know, essentially like remember them. And that has an effect, right? So, first off, really fucking cool that that's an ability that Roy has. Not just Roy, like Lai, Rui, slash Spika, right? Of if they throw up a name, that affects people involved, right? Uh, yeah, right. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Hold on. Ooh, ooh. Not yet. I'm not gonna say that yet. But yeah, you worded it perfectly there. Of him doing this implies that there's an effect going on here, right? So Al doesn't get as affected, but Amelia does, right? Ooh, ooh. You can't say that. You can't say that because or else I'm gonna get excited here. Ooh, okay. This implies one of two things, right? For who is thrown up. There's one. There is Julius, right? Julius is the obvious example. Roy ate Julius's name, right? So that is the most obvious thing. Of Al didn't interact with Julius much. He didn't interact with the other knights much. So therefore, it doesn't affect him greatly. Julius was on a journey with them, and therefore that does have an effect, right? Amelia knew him for a while, like knew him prior to all the stuff with Arc 5 and everything, but then was on a journey with him with Arc 5 and Arc 6 and all that and everything. There is an alternative. Now, I'm not saying this alternative as a fact, right? We still gotta find out and everything. But there's an alternative. I don't think it's correct, but there's an alternative. Because there's a character that Al didn't even know about in Arc 3. He had to question them because he thought they were someone else, right? He thought they were someone who was similar. Honestly, I'm glad the light is this low because you can barely see my smile. The thing is, they've established that these memories are shared, right? This is something I need to point out is they established they're shared. So it doesn't matter if it was someone it was a different gluttony that ate a name. They share it. So if a name is regurgitated, what the fuck was I told to stay off social media for? I don't want to know, but at the same time, I'm sitting here like, what the fuck was I told? Oh, oh, dude, dude. What the fuck happens? I'm saying off. Don't worry. I look okay. Look, I made those posts on Twitter about uh I made these posts and everything about like, oh yeah, look, anime North and all that. Woo, right? I did all these posts and everything, but you know what? I stayed off, right? Completely. I all I did. No, yeah. Uh, all I did really was I stayed on my home feed, right? My home feed pretty much has nothing. Occasionally, my good pal Dosh retweets art. None of the art is ever spoilers, right? It used to be, now it's not, which I'm thankful for, right? Might be because he hasn't seen it yet. I don't know. But yeah, also yeah, it really is. I'm very dedicated when it comes to streaming. I believe it or not, 3 hours, like 3 to 4 hours is how long I usually stream. These reading sessions are actually shorter than what I usually do. Like I keep my streams pretty damn long. I've done like 8 hour streams before. I've done fucking 12-hour streams because of like the Rumble, like the end of the year Rumble stuff. I uh I stream for pretty damn long sometimes. Um but yeah, I've been staying off and I've been solely focusing on like, I'll make posts about this if I see them on my feed, all this. I'll stick to my feed. That's it. Anytime I go like I click on explore, I immediately go back, right? Because I remember and I stay off. But dude, fuck. Ooh, ooh. I'm fucking pasted. Dude, it could be either or. I'm cool with either or, but dude, at the same time, no, this could be really bad. Just know. All I'm gonna say is just know if it is my ugly son here. I might shake and punch him out of excitement. I, I'm sorry to him, but I might do it. I might have to do it. He's wanted anyways. It's okay. It's okay. I'll give him a hug for now. A hug in advance. Let me look at the word count of the next chapter. I don't think we're doing it. But dude, let me look at the word count. What the fuck did I just see? The fuck was that? I should have looked away. I I should have told myself to look away. Yep. Fuck. Let me just do a word count. I'm looking away this time. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I just want to do a word count. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. At this point, I already saw the fan art, but I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I see this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna clear this. I'm gonna paste this, and we're not looking, and we're going up. Okay, yeah, no, we'll save this for next time. I'm not looking. 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 Dude, dude. We'll save this for Saturday. I don't even know if I want to save this for Saturday. I'm gonna be real with you, right? I am sitting here. It is reaching 9 o'clock. I wanna end off because it's getting late, and a 6,000 word chapter implies another an hour and a half. I'm not opposed to that in a certain sense, right? That's 10:30, but I'm gonna be real. I haven't eaten. Well, okay, I ate lunch, but I haven't eaten anything past lunch, right? So I'm kind of sitting here like, I want to grab something to eat. All this, I don't want to eat on stream, I don't want to just sit here and be like, hey guys, we're going to eat on stream, and that's it. You know, I thought to myself, I'm like, I've had some funny reactions so far. We could just put this in like a best of video, right? In terms of like the year, right? I was thinking of the year. We might just have to do best of like reading of like Arc 9. Like explicit. They can't. Tepe can't do this to me. Tepe can't do this to me. He can't. He can't. Dude. Dude, 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 dude. This is bad. This is really bad. I went unspoiled. I went unspoiled. This is oof. Is this how I would have felt if I what section? Where? Where am I going? Hold on. Hold on. You're saying things, you're frightening me. Uh the stuff with the plan B? Okay. When he froze up for the first time. So inspired comprehension imagination of been on something for the first time they were seeing it. Currently Aldebaran no. Just how far up to where am I stopping here? Just so I know. Okay. Amelia falls to her knees. Uh, so here, okay. Hold on. Let me go through this entire. So instantly, that which assailed the vomiting sensation of the soul, or he believed he had understood the principle. He even managed to conceive of what would occur, but once it had actually transpired, comprehension and imagination had been no use whatsoever, neither unto flesh nor unto spirit, and that was an onslaught onto memories intangible. There existed a phenomenon known as deja vu. First time one laid eyes upon something, it feels as though I mean to the seeing it currently. But no, every single person undergoing those effects is experiencing something several times, tens of thousands of, ooh, excuse me, could not be ignored. Spilling a husky breath and felt. Oh, he does. He does really just. He does. There's no fucking shot, dude. 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 I'm gonna turn into fucking like Golden Freddy here. I'm gonna have my fucking neck twisted. Oh my god. Oh. No. I can't. I am stun locked. Holy shit. No. No, dude. No. One moment. Not mentally. Hold on. One more time. Sit there. Let's fucking go. I'm sorry for that. Honestly, I wanted to make that a more like consistent sound, but honestly, my voice is just dead now. I was gonna go with like a more like that sort of thing, right? Didn't work. Fuck. Oh my. I win. Me. No one else. Me. I win. Me. Ooh. Ooh. I'm feeling good. This, I can't make it go higher. This is the best fucking outcome. The, okay, listen. Obviously, what's going on here is fucked up, right? But I win, right? Spica, right? I said, might not be around till the end of Arcade. She's still around. She's a fun character. And guess fucking what? Guess what this fucking arc does? Whew. Fucking. I need to sit, but I can't sit because. What do I say? What do I even. I hope you all know this is gonna be a whole ass section in that best of video. If I do make a best of video, we're making this a whole ass section. And it's gonna be just gonna all it's gonna say is Niab sees the moment. It's gonna be quotations to the moment. Feel free to let me know if there's gonna be a sequel to that. Yeah, yeah. You know what's fucked up? I I wish I had more energy right now, right? I wish this weekend wasn't the packed, like, con sort of weekend that it was with me going to Anime North and everything. I wish I wasn't tired the past few days because of it, right? And all this bullshit. If I was full energy just reading this, dude, dude, I would, I'd be yelling. I'm gonna be real, because it's like, I don't want to be yelling at like 9 p.m. Even if it's 9 p.m., it's relatively early. But dude, I'd be fucking yelling. I'd be screaming right now. This is a calm ass reaction for me. I'd be freaking the fuck out right now. Yeah, I win. Me. I think that's where it was. I should have started earlier. I, re- I passed out yesterday. I was so fucking tired. I passed out. I knew I was tired enough to pass out. I shouldn't have. I should have got my ass up. Right? You want to know what happened? It was actually. I'll show all of you. I'll. Hold on. We want to see what happened. We want to see why I'm not doing this early. Okay. Let's turn the monitor over a bit. You can see some of the stuff in the background. That's okay. All right. Here's what happened. This. This right here. Right? I mentioned it at the start of the stream. I was up a little late playing this little game. Right? I was having fun. I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me go through it again. Right? I love Super Metroid. Let me go. Let me just have some fun. Go through it. I didn't go super far, but I'm like, let me just spend like exactly as it says. Like, I mean, okay, I already had 2 minutes on this. I was like, let me spend. No, no, yeah, I know. I'm gonna completely stay off and I'm gonna avoid shit. But I spent 17 minutes because the first 2 minutes I had already done. I don't know why I did at some point I did the Ridley fight at the start of this game and then just stopped. I did the Ridley fight, whatever, I stopped, I saved, but then now I picked it up, like I picked it back up again. Uh I spent 17 minutes playing, right? Hit start game. Yep, Brinstar, right there. Bo, 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 bo. I was right here, right at this save point, and I'm like, okay, all I gotta do, because I'm lying down on my bed playing this, I'm like, all I gotta do is just get my ass up, turn it off, and just go to bed. I sat right here and passed out. And I passed out till like the afternoon. So it's why we had to start late. And I'm kind of pissed that happened. I'm kind of pissed that I did that. And I didn't bother to even get up because, dude, we could have started this way earlier and we could have kept going. And I shot myself in the foot. I shot myself in the foot so hard, dude. Why the fuck did I do that? I am like actually kind of upset at myself now for that. I wouldn't be as mad if it wasn't for the fact that like we could do a chapter tomorrow, but we're gonna have to start early. Like I will try. No, because I at this point I'm like talking a lot, and that's the problem. Is like, I like to have a day where I get to rest. And it's just like, well, if I'm having a day where I get to rest, tomorrow's not the option. So then it's Friday. And there is no shot we're doing it early enough on Friday. Right? Fuck. We just have to wait till Saturday. I just have to wait till Saturday to. So this is the problem, is I don't want to keep going because I need to eat and everything, and I have other stuff I need to do. But it's like, I think we just have to wait till Saturday. Fuck. Dude, this is the moment I've been waiting. Oh my god, this is the moment I've been waiting for, and I don't even get to continue. This would not be an issue if the next chapter wasn't like this. It is 6,000 words. That's going to take us like an hour and a half. No, yeah. I've done this to myself. I have hit myself with a cliffhanger. Oh my god. I can only hope my own writing does this to people. Fuck, dude. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna theory craft here. I want to theory craft. What I'm expecting, because from what I understood, it was like with the more recent chapters. I don't need confirmation on whether that's the case or not. I just want to point it out. I did see chapter names, right? So this is my theory. Is what I might potentially see is confirmation with this chapter down here because she knows her, right? So I'm just sitting here thinking this chapter right here might confirm it. We're gonna find out when we get there, but fuck, dude. Honestly, okay. I want to check something. I want to check the character amount of what those chapters were. Not in terms of just like them here. I want to see what the announcement character amount were. Or was, rather. You know what I mean? Because if I know what the general character amount is, I don't think that's the one. I think that's a brand new one, I assume. Maybe not. Oh shit, maybe not. Because that's 100%, which is the next one we have to do. Then a chapter got announced that had 13k characters. Then another got announced that had 18k. Oh, those are being worked on. Okay, never mind. I just realized in the announcement those are being worked on. Never mind. So those are brand new. So, okay, so the last one here is 7,000. Also, I know if two are being worked on, there's a chance that those also have spoilers. Obviously, going to hold off in regards to that as well. Okay, so 13k. Yes, 13k, 7,000. And this was 12. The next one I have to do is 12,000. No, no, fuck. I was gonna say if the next two are short enough, we could. I was about to say if the next two are short enough, we could just do them both in the same stream. Right, like both of those, the next one, all that triple threat sort of stream, that would be a-okay. I don't think we can. Ooh, excuse me. Like 7,000's not bad. That's short. Maybe we could. I don't know. I think we wait for Saturday to roll around and we see. I would be willing to do a triple threat potentially, but I don't think we do it tonight. I don't think we do the next one tonight is what I mean. I'm like trying to find a solution here for like maybe we could try and do one, but I'm like, what do we do to solve this? Let me turn this off. I don't think we do it, but at the same time, because I am hungry, but I also I don't want to end it there. Fuck. I'm gonna use a nice old policy of mine. It's called if I'm indecisive, I flip a coin. We'll go best two of three. Heads, heads I get dinner. Tails, we keep going. Well, that's one tails. That's one heads. Well, okay, I guess in that scenario we should probably go to free. So we'll go to free on this. Heads. If we get heads again, that's it. Heads. Okay, we're done. Okay, it's unfortunate, but we're gonna end off there. Fuck, dude. Oh. Okay, I've come to accept it. We're gonna end off there. I cannot wait for Saturday. If we are able to, if I'm feeling good, we can try tomorrow. I'm gonna say we can try. I don't want the whole week to be just reading in a certain way, like the rest of the week. But at the same time, maybe. We will potentially try for tomorrow. We will see. Otherwise, we will be back Saturday. I might do a triple threat, like I mentioned. We'll see. I am very excited now. Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm gonna be thinking about this chapter all night long. I'm gonna be sleeping with a smile on my face, just like I did at the end of Arc 6. There's gonna be a big old grin on my face while I sleep. Alright. We're gonna end off there. So take care. Have yourselves a great night. Yeah. Ah. See, there's something so like sinister to the smiles because it's like they don't reveal whether it's true or not, and I kind of like that. At the same time, it's so harsh. Ha. Yeah. Uh, I don't know what else to say. I really don't. Just take care. Have yourselves a great night. Yep. Have a good one. Uh, Stay safe. And I guess I will see you all either tomorrow, relatively early, fucking maybe bright and early for all I know, and otherwise Saturday. And like I said, we'll do a triple chapter on Saturday if that's the case. I'm abso-fucking-lutely, unless I'm busy, but I assume I'm not. Yeah, we're gonna end up there. Bye, peeps. Bye bye. Bye. Oof.